Chapter 1061. Heaven and earth were dark red, blood blossoming. It was extremely terrifying, tearing apart the heavens. I really think I saw a great killing formation at the pinnacle activate. The distant spectators all shivered inwardly. Even from so far away, the world began to tremble, the sun and moon losing their brilliance, covered by bloody radiance. It was difficult to see what kind of unforeseen event was happening, but there were some scenes that could be seen. A sea of blood appeared, a vicious aura that could slaughter all life was released, sweeping through the boundless rivers and mountains, horrifying many people until their hands and feet went cold. It seems to be suppressing someone, seems like it is serene. Someone opened their heavenly eyes, vaguely seeing an indistinct figure in the great sea of blood. Even though it was releasing divine splendor, it was suppressed too fiercely, unable to see through Su Yan's situation. Some people felt like a mysterious black hand appeared, that it was the one hastening the ripening of the reincarnation fruits, similarly suppressing all experts who dared steal the reincarnation fruits. Hong! A tremendous sound finally erupted, as if the heavens collapsed, shaking many people until their eyes went dark, eardrums feeling like they were going to split apart. This was a horrifying scene. In this reincarnation cosmos, the most powerful cultivators were at the peak of heavenly deity level, but right now, terrifying waves were released from the source, as if a Chilan's roar shattered the vast earth, divine might world shocking, as if a blood-colored stellar stream was roiling downwards. Blood radiance erupted, piercing through the void, grand fiendish energy spreading. This was precisely the heaven-covering sea of blood overturning, submerging everything. That figure was blurry to the extreme. Big bro. Luo Dali was extremely nervous. He didn't know what Su Yan encountered, but if it really was the corpse blood sea's dark hand that appeared, hastening the ripening of the reincarnation fruits, then there was great karma between Su Yan and himself. Back then, Su Yan stole the primal chaos source energy, even rescuing Luo Tiandu and King Flash. Back then, Zhu Fu and the others also slaughtered their way over, disturbing the blood altar's endless peace. The situation there was extremely terrifying, but now that this dark hand appeared, setting up a trap, it definitely wouldn't let Su Yan off lightly. One could tell from the current momentum that the energy fluctuations were too intense. Was this still a confrontation at the heavenly deity realm? It was completely like a sea of blood overturning the heavens, wishing to completely devour Su Yan, beat him down. Boom! Su Yan stomped his feet on the ground. His black hair danced in the wind, and his eyes burned like torches. Even someone as strong as Su Yan, whose body-nurturing technique had reached perfection and whose godly power could penetrate the heavens and penetrate the earth, would be suppressed by the bloodshed at any moment. Only Su Yan was unafraid. Even if it was an old monster, no matter how much he calculated, he still wouldn't know that Su Yan was opening the path to the heavenly deity's path. Once he crossed it, he would definitely attract the heavenly deity's great tribulation. Buzz. Su Yan's body was burning fiercely, spurting out vast waves of blood. If one were to observe carefully, they would be able to see the unparalleled potential in his body. He had been strengthened once again even when he had reached his limit. In the body-nurturing technique, Su Yan had devoured the origin energy of the reincarnation fruit, perfecting his body to a certain extent. At this moment it was awakened in the extreme domain. A terrifying stream of blood essence soared from the top of his head, turning into an ancient dragon that coiled above his head, overlooking the desolate 10 lands. The bloody light that filled the sky exploded, torn apart by the storm of blood essence that surged out from Su Yan's body. It's Su Xianren. He's fighting against the bloody purgatory. The spectating experts shouted. They saw a blazing figure glowing, roaring into the sky. His blood essence surged, and his great Tao divine power surged endlessly, rising to the peak level at lightning speed. Is Su Yan breaking through? Tensor suddenly said, his emotions surging. Once Su Yan crossed over to the heavenly deity realm, with his foundation, his combat strength would definitely erupt. It was hard to predict how powerful he would become. However, this sea of blood was simply too unimaginable. The powerhouse who was secretly controlling the array activated this ancient array. Streaks of blood light fell down, accompanied by an aura of life that could devour tens of thousands of lives. This formation was used to accelerate the ripening of the reincarnation fruit. At the same time, it could devour all creatures in the world. In the face of this powerful devouring, Su Yan's body flowed in reverse, converging into the blooming reincarnation fruit. In a short time, the 6 reincarnation fruits blazed with divine light. They were really close to ripening. In the process, the reincarnation universe even began to age faster. The entire universe was somewhat dim, even on the verge of collapse. This scene made the experts of various races entrenched in the outside world unable to sit still. The reincarnation universe would soon reach its peak. When the time came, they would definitely be able to kill their way in and pluck the fortunes. What delicious fresh blood! A sinister laugh was heard. It seems that the reincarnation fruit's effect will be even better because of your accelerated ripening. I really can't bear to kill you now. I wonder if the reincarnation fruit will be even more perfect if I slowly extract the essence from your body. You're thinking too much. Su Yan's eyes erupted with divine light. Within his precious body, the sound of scriptures rumbled and exploded. The instant the Origin Sutra was recited, Su Yan's corporeal body and great Tao became one. He transformed into a divine furnace that gushed with the fluctuations of the Origin Sutra. He also seemed to be splitting open heaven and earth. The divine furnace glowed and burned in the extreme realm. It seemed to be transforming into a heavenly furnace of the great Tao and completing a great evolution. When Su Yan operated the Origin Sutra to the extreme, the world really seemed to be repeating itself. It was being reorganized, and everything returned to the origin. It was covered in dense primal chaos and filled with the majestic aura of the primal chaos. Su Yan used the primal chaos origin chi as the foundation and began to evolve his path to becoming a heavenly deity. This was a path that had to be walked. The strength of a heavenly deity was greatly related to the origin chi. Even the future divine king was the same. Suddenly, Su Yan let out a long cry. His aura changed under the guidance of the Origin Sutra. He saw a vast expanse of space-time mountains and rivers. It was like a seed of heaven and earth condensed together. But when it expanded and erupted, it was like a universe that encompassed all things in the universe. Heavenly deity, the god of heaven and earth. Heaven as the Tao, man as the earth. Su Yan had a kind of enlightenment. The Origin Sutra was ever-changing. It encompassed heaven and earth, and was broad and profound. Every Tao had its own path of beginning. The more he accumulated, the more he grasped, and the stronger the Origin Sutra became. It was grander and more magnificent. Su Yan's previous accumulation wasn't in vain. Now, he had obtained a terrifying sublimation. I am heaven and earth. Su Yan stepped on the wilderness and released the power of the body-nurturing technique. It was as if he had transformed into a vast and boundless land. He released tens of thousands of golden dragons of the great Tao. His aura really erupted to the peak of the peak and caused the blood sea to tremble. All the devouring power couldn't get close to Su Yan. This scene caused the hidden life form's pupils to shrink. There was a trace of astonishment in his pupils as he muttered to himself, "This is a kind of path that can break through the universe's prison. How could he have cultivated it? The universe's environment doesn't allow it. Could it be that he really originated from ancient times? Is he the same kind of person as us?" He probably didn't know that the later progenitor had 9 great heavenly passes. One of them could dream back to the era of the immortal planet and allow Su Yan to study the myriad Tao. He probably didn't know that the body nurturing technique that the prehistoric Big Brother had grasped could encompass the aura of the origin of all things in the universe. This was also a kind of self-sealing secret technique that could even allow one to survive for a long time. This was Su Yan's opportunity. It was the key point for him to ignite the path of the heavenly deity. Suppress. A blood-colored figure appeared. It was a bit blurry and his aura was that of a perverted monk. He couldn't just watch Su Yan complete his path. Boom! The boundless sea of blood overturned and pressed down from all directions. It wanted to interrupt Su Yan's cultivation path and suppress him, stealing the answers he wanted to know. As the peerless pressure assaulted him, Su Yan felt a premonition of danger. Strands of chaotic energy were produced from his body. His flesh shell was covered by the energy of the mother of primal chaos. Especially in his current state, he was filled with an astonishing aura, causing Su Yan to be filled with the might of the king of primal chaos. However, the pressure aimed at Su Yan was like an avalanche. The blood light pressed down on him, layer after layer, wanting to crush Su Yan. The beginning of all things. Su Yan let out a long howl. Come from the primal chaos, go to the primal chaos. Buzz. Su Yan's body shone, surging with terrifying primal chaos energy. Primal chaos waves surged between heaven and earth, surging to the extreme. Su Yan was drowned in primal chaos energy, and a path of heaven and earth began to extend, interweaving with boundless power. This was his strongest state. His battle prowess was unparalleled, erupting at the extreme. He chanted sutras, one syllable after another, filled with the power to split heaven and earth. In the end, Su Yan's body surged with immortal splendor, densely covered with terrifying primal chaos symbols. It could easily crush the void. Strands of profound Tao fluctuations spread out, turning into the source of all things, taking root in Su Yan's body, turning into a seed that took root and sprouted in his body, surging out wave after wave. The fluctuations of the supreme deity of heaven and earth. It was as if an immortal scripture was imprinted in Su Yan's flesh and blood. Resplendent light surged, piercing through the blood light that filled the sky. Su Yan also seemed to have turned into a small golden person. His appearance was solemn, and he was resplendent. It was as if he was welcoming a new life. Especially within his body, strange fluctuations surged. This was the birth of a new type of energy. At first, it looked very calm, but when it was transmitted, it was like the mountains and rivers of the great earth. The atmosphere was vast and boundless, able to encompass all things in the world. Su Yan turned into a divine seed of heaven and earth, taking root and sprouting. His entire body surged with light, constructing his future cultivation path. That was the supreme deity that overlooked heaven and earth, appearing behind Su Yan's back, supreme and unsurpassed. This is his vision? The shadow in the blood-red world muttered, pondering. He was no longer in a hurry to make a move. He wanted to see what exactly Su Yan's Tao and law were. In his mind, no matter how strong Su Yan's battle prowess was in the heavenly deity realm, there was no way he could escape from his grasp. He recalled the vision behind Su Yan at the blood altar. He saw a blurry primal chaos, carrying with it the pressure of time and space. He saw one supreme figure after another in it. Now, he wanted to see more. He wanted to see a deeper level of the primal chaos. He was sure that he could continue to explore different profundities in the primal chaos, because he vaguely felt that this was like the legendary blurry image of holding up the heavens. Right now, he had to figure out what was going on. Chapter 1062. In the blood-red world, a figure sat cross-legged. His body emitted a divine light that interweaved in the void, forming a strange image. It looked like a figure, but it was like a supreme god that ruled over the universe. Its power was immeasurable. Su Yan used the world to prove his Tao, but this world was Su Yan's true body. His appearance was solemn as he chanted the Origin Sutra. Sound after sound of the great Tao rang out, as if it was the supreme sound of the creation of the world. Hong. Primal chaos surged within Su Yan's body, dividing into yin and yang. It was as if a yin and yang Tao diagram was engraved in the void. Vaguely, a vague aura of a deity was emitted. Su Yan's mind trembled. He had grasped it. This was the energy of a deity. It was grand and exceptional, about to fill the entire world. He was especially excited. After all, he had no experience on this path, and no one to guide him. He had to fumble around on his own. Of course, at the crucial moment, the Origin Sutra gave him inspiration, allowing him to find the correct path. 1. The wondrous sound of the great Tao appeared within his body. It was now a critical moment. Su Yan was expanding heaven and earth. The body-nurturing technique expanded the grand earth. His power of 10,000 Tao outlined the firmament. Back then, when the Origin Sutra was operated to the extreme, rivers of scriptures appeared in the complex firmament world. They crisscrossed like seas of stars. In the end, 10,000 stars appeared in the sky, revealing the summit of the firmament. Endless scripture symbols appeared, and when they slowly combined together, they formed a grand heaven that released the charm of the great Tao. In this magnificent scene, Su Yan seemed somewhat insignificant at this moment. The moment he pushed the 10,000 great Tao to merge, he had a kind of enlightenment. The Heavenly Power chapter was like a heavenly book that opened in his sea of consciousness, causing his primordial spirit to become transparent. He had comprehended the most important chapter, causing his aura to rise sharply. So that's how it is, so that's how it is, ha ha ha. Su Yan laughed loudly. He didn't expect that in the process of constructing his path to deity, he would be enlightened and comprehend the Heavenly Power chapter's transformation. At this moment, he felt like he was a master of strange arts. He could observe the great power of heaven and earth and understand its profound changes. The heavens are helping me. Su Yan laughed loudly. The heaven and earth he outlined became even more magnificent and majestic, as if they had merged into one. The universe was divided into yin and yang. Now that yin and yang merged, it finally shook out the terrifying power. The vague aura of deity became clearer, causing Su Yan's entire body to flourish. Radiant golden light that illuminated the blood world. Chaos as the root. Su Yan let out a deep Tao sound as he controlled the primal chaos. With the source Qi as the foundation, he seemed to have transformed into the controller of the primal chaos as he emitted a vast primal chaos domain that covered the sky and the sun. If Su Yan became a seed, he would be buried in the primal chaos and grow strong. Everything was so natural. Since the heavenly god's power had been sketched out, the rest of the cultivation would be a matter of course. All creation. He then let out a cold voice. I am heaven and earth, chaos as the root, all creation as the source, prove my great Tao of deity. The instant the wondrous sound of the great Tao appeared, the hidden life form in the scarlet world glared angrily, causing the calm scarlet purgatory to tremble violently. A boundless scarlet light descended from the sky, wanting to suppress Su Yan. But it was too late now. Su Yan's path to deity had been opened. In his body the aura of deity surged. A seed sprouted and grew, growing in the chaos. The waves it released penetrated the entire world. This strange, grand, magnificent, and sacred fluctuation continued to spread out. The blood-red world rose up and began to rumble and roar. The creature hidden in the blood-red world was infuriated. It let out a roar while clenching its teeth. You bastard, you're breaking through, but you haven't reached the heaven god realm yet. You're actually undergoing the tribulation. It had already felt that the ancient world of reincarnation, because of Su Yan's aura, gave birth to an extremely terrifying wave. The energy of reincarnation seemed to have crossed thousands of eras, penetrated through time and space, and evolved into an ancient heaven and earth thunder punishment. It was so angry that it wanted to spit out a mouthful of blood. This was the place where the reincarnation fruit grew. It had a great array that it had painstakingly set up. Once the thunder tribulation descended, what would be left? Moreover, what shocked him the most was that Su Yen was actually able to undergo the tribulation in this world. This was the ancient reincarnation universe, an incomplete universe secret realm that was about to cease to exist. But Su Yen could actually trigger the universe thunder punishment that was born in the reincarnation universe. This caused the expression of the life in the blood world to change. It knew that something big was about to happen. Could it be that the reincarnation fruit is about to ripen? In the dim world of reincarnation, the young experts who were still standing there were shocked. Everyone could feel that the origin energy of the universe in the incomplete universe was madly converging towards the mountain range. Look! Everyone was terrified. In the world of bloodlight, a huge hole appeared in an instant. A huge black vortex was born. As it stirred, the sky collapsed and the earth sank, burning everything. The energy of the thunder tribulation. An old cultivator stammered, "Could it be that the birth of the supreme divine medicine reincarnation fruit will be accompanied by a thunder tribulation? There's such a ridiculous thing? That's not possible, right? Could there be an expert undergoing tribulation in there? But who could it be? It's impossible for Su Xianren. He's already a deity. It's impossible for him to break through to the divine king realm here." The experts found it hard to believe. Tai Baotsai's face was solemn like an old swindler. He grinned and muttered to himself, "According to the ancient legends, the birth of a supreme divine medicine must be bathed in thunder tribulation. Once the tribulation fails, the divine medicine will be destroyed." This muttering sounded like Tai Baokai talking to himself. In reality, many people heard his voice. Once the news spread, it caused the cultivators present to go crazy. The supreme divine medicine was undergoing tribulation. It was understandable that the divine medicine was about to be completed. As long as the reincarnation fruit finished bathing in thunder tribulation, it would be completely ripe. Quick, spread the news. The reincarnation fruit will be ripe after the tribulation. Many people shouted and dispatched their subordinate. They spread the news. There were also old cultivators who were at a loss. Was there such a thing? However, some young geniuses with astonishing origins said, "There is indeed such a thing. I've seen similar legends in the ancient records of my family. It's said that the heaven-defying divine medicine will be tested by heavenly tribulation. That's because this type of divine medicine is too heaven-defying." Tai Baokai was stunned. This bestiality was just speaking casually? There really was such a thing. Yuan and the others were mainly worried that someone would see through Su Yan's tribulation. Therefore, Tai Baokai said this to distract everyone's attention on Su Yan. After all, if the news that Su Yan was undergoing tribulation spread, there would definitely be experts who would intervene. This way, the risk of Su Yan's tribulation would be even greater. They could not forget the tragic incident where Su Yan had almost died during the lightning tribulation of the Great Tao. Of course, this time, Su Yan chose to undergo tribulation in the reincarnation universe. It shouldn't attract heavenly tribulation, right? Boom. Whether they believed it or not, the thunderous sound had already exploded. It was deafening and spread over hundreds of thousands of miles. That kind of momentum was really as if it was burning the world. When the black whirlpool began to operate, it was enough to crush all life in the universe. This was the heavenly tribulation that originated from the reincarnation universe. As it spat out, the reincarnation universe would also age faster. This universe really couldn't hold on for much longer. The source of all this was Su Yan. The more terrifying his aura was, the more vast and magnificent the energy of the lightning tribulation he attracted. Finally, one day, the black whirlpool spread over thousands of miles. This heaven-defying scene scared the experts so much that they trembled. Looking from here, they could see a super strong storm gathering. Within the black whirlpool, there were bolts of black lightning surging out one after another. Between heaven and earth there was a drifting rain. This was black rain. It was like a mountain flood overturning, like a vast ocean bursting its bank. Its momentum shook the heavens and the earth. Su Yen, you lunatic! The creature hiding in the dark was really going crazy. The reincarnation fruit was about to ripen. Once Su Yen attracted too much heavenly tribulation, it was very likely that the fruit would be destroyed in a day. He had no choice but to take action. He shrunk the formation. The blood-colored world condensed together, enveloping the reincarnation fruit so that it wouldn't be damaged. After doing all this, the world was already oppressed to the extreme. Even the heavenly deities were panicking. They had to prostrate themselves on the ground and kowtow. They felt that only by doing this could they alleviate the oppressive atmosphere that was suffocating them to death. Finally, at this moment, the lightning struck down. One after another, the black lightning bolts were as thick as mountain ridges. The aura was terrifying as they crushed the void. Everything collapsed. This wasn't just a few bolts. There were over 1,000 bolts of black lightning striking down. It was as if over 1,000 black evil dragons had drilled out of the great whirlpool, violently hacking at Su Yen. In the eyes of outsiders, they couldn't see anything. They only saw over 1,000 bolts of black lightning striking down to destroy all life. What a terrifying lightning tribulation! It's more than 10 times stronger than my heavenly tribulation. A genius was speechless. Can the reincarnation fruit withstand such a powerful lightning tribulation? It won't be destroyed, right? I can feel the power of reincarnation. The extremely oppressive atmosphere was targeted at Su Yen. Su Yan's pupils suddenly widened. He said coldly, "Perhaps I can comprehend the changes of reincarnation at the crucial moment of crossing the tribulation. I can steal a fragment of the great Tao of reincarnation and cultivate an unrivaled great Tao profound meaning." Do you think this is child's play? The creature hidden in the darkness was furious. This is the reincarnation divine punishment, one of the strongest heavenly tribulations in history. Not to mention you, even the most outstanding Yingjie might not be able to safely cross this kind of heavenly tribulation. I am unrivaled in the 9 heavens and 10 earths. Are you not convinced? If you are, then come and fight me. Su Yan's long black hair draped over his shoulders. His body was steaming with a blurry divine light as he spoke coldly. I want to see just how miserable your death will be. The creature hidden in the darkness was quite angry. He was worried that the reincarnation divine punishment would destroy the reincarnation fruit. After all, the two were the same substance. Once the divine punishment was too strong, even the reincarnation fruit could be absorbed and turned into a divine punishment to target Su Yen. Boom! The black lightning that filled the sky had already struck down. It represented a kind of reincarnation, a kind of terrifying time and age. The moment it pressed down, all living things were about to be stripped of their lives. Su Yan's aura aged at lightning speed, as if he was going to die of old age. Boom! Su Yen looked up to the sky and roared. He released a blurry divine aura and pierced through the sky. His aura instantly exploded to its peak. He stood in the golden age, standing in the unrivaled domain. He was like a giant monster hidden in the darkness that came out of seclusion. He stretched out his arms fiercely and tore apart the black lightning that filled the sky. Chapter 1063. A great crack appeared, one so deep that one couldn't see the bottom. Su Yan's arms moved, his divine strength shocking the world. He tore apart the black lightning that filled the skies. He was truly an unrivaled god of courage. However, this samsara divine punishment was extremely abnormal. The great crack that had just been torn apart instantly reformed. The thousands of black lightning bolts that fell down from the great vortex seemed to fuse into one, forming a world-destroying hurricane of darkness. A tide of darkness surged forth, covering everything as it wanted to obliterate all terrifying matter. Moreover, this aura was accompanied by the energy of samsara. It was accompanied by a strength that stripped away the life energy of all living beings. It wanted to pull out the vast life energy within Su Yan's body, stripping it clean. Roar. Beneath the abyss of darkness, Su Yan roared out loud. His combat strength erupted. The blurry body of a heavenly deity began to chant the great Tao heavenly scripture, fusing together into one. The strength of a heavenly deity shook out, forcefully creating a giant hole in the tide of darkness. Come, samsara divine punishment, help me on the road to becoming a heavenly deity. Su Yan soared into the skies, taking the initiative to face the great samsara tribulation. If this scene were known by the old antiques of every race, it was unknown what they would think. After all, this was the samsara divine punishment that was hailed as one of the strongest divine punishments in history. Once a powerhouse of the same generation encountered it, they would try to escape. But Su Yan directly faced it head-on. He wanted to pierce through the samsara divine punishment and shatter it to pieces. He even wanted to seize the samsara Tao fruit and cultivate his own secret technique. The massive body of the samsara divine punishment trembled. Su Yan was like a peerless heavenly deity that could move the world. He reversed his combat strength, his attacks causing the entire samsara divine punishment to tremble. It seemed as if it would be torn apart by his terrifying divine strength. Bang! At this moment, the revolving black vortex suddenly gushed out, a tide of darkness that caused all living beings to tremble in fear. The strength of the samsara divine punishment soared by a great deal. It was even accompanied by the pressure of the great Tao. This was definitely the legendary samsara great Tao. It appeared in the form of a samsara divine punishment, wanting to obliterate anyone who crossed tribulation. The pressure that filled the skies, blotting out the world. It was as if the oceans were being reversed, as if the heavens were being turned upside down. In short, everything became extremely terrifying. Su Yan's blood and energy were shaken to the point of face. His blood, that blood's throat. If you can't even pass the divine punishment, how can you talk about the path of kings? Su Yan let out an angry roar. His long hair fluttered in the wind. His eyes were sharp and overflowing. He had transformed and matured in battle. He was savagely devouring the energy of the lightning tribulation for his own use. Su Yan was devouring the power of lightning, speeding up his path to becoming a heavenly deity. During this entire process, he encountered countless bolts of lightning striking him. These bolts of lightning were imbued with the might of the samsara grand Tao, and they were capable of easily obliterating the body and soul of an expert. How can there be such a terrifying lightning tribulation? Everyone felt their scalps go numb. The intensity of the lightning tribulation was still increasing, and the momentum had already spread over 1,000,000 miles. Within the great crack, reincarnation light was released. This was a great murderous tribulation, accompanied by streaks of thick lightning that were pitch black like ink. They descended from the heavens, hacking towards the place where tens of thousands of mountains converged. Many people were worried that the reincarnation fruit would directly shatter. However, since the divine punishment was still ongoing, it meant that the reincarnation fruit was also extremely powerful. At the same time, the reincarnation universe's decline began to accelerate, and large cracks appeared in many regions. This meant that the universe was really reaching its limit. Perhaps the day the reincarnation fruit matured would be the day the reincarnation universe collapsed. Is the reincarnation divine punishment really a medicine undergoing tribulation? Zhu Tian frowned. Back then, when he was trying to break through to the heavenly deity realm, he had chosen to undergo tribulation in a universe-secret realm occupied by the ancestral hall. This was an extremely terrifying divine punishment that wasn't inferior to the reincarnation divine punishment. However, now that the reincarnation divine punishment had appeared, It made Zhu Tian wonder if someone was undergoing tribulation. When I was undergoing tribulation, I attracted the true dragon Great Tribulation, Luo Tiandu said in a low voice. If Su Yan is really undergoing tribulation, he's really abnormal. What true dragon Great Tribulation? Tai Baocai's eyes glowed with green light. Luo Tiandu didn't understand Tai Baokai, but he was full of respect for this young supreme of the demonic Tao who had slain the North Demon. He said, "My clan occupies a true dragon nest, which is a top-notch universe secret realm. It breeds the true dragon aura. When I underwent tribulation, I attracted the strongest response of the universe secret realm, and the true dragon Great Tribulation fell. Emperor Nan also survived this tribulation, but unfortunately, there's still a gap between me and Emperor Nan. I still need to work hard. Young people must work hard. Although I'm now the #1 beast god of the demon domain, I haven't seen a true dragon yet." Tai Baokai stretched out his large claw and patted Luo Tiandu's shoulder. He said, "Where's your clan's universe secret realm? We can go over and be guests later." Tensor scratched his head. A top-notch clan was indeed a top-notch clan. They were really rich. There was such a saying about undergoing tribulation. After all, during the process of undergoing tribulation, one could comprehend the heavenly might of a true dragon. Hence, Luo Tiandu had stepped into the heavenly deity realm, and his combat power had multiplied. Hence, he wanted to fight Emperor Nan to find out the gap between them. The divine punishment was still increasing in intensity. In the world of lightning and thunder, the atmosphere was extremely violent. Cracks appeared on tens of thousands of mountains. This tough place where the reincarnation elixir grew was almost unable to withstand the test of the reincarnation divine punishment. As for the source, it was Su Yan. Although he didn't show any signs of decline, his entire body was charred black. His skin was split open by the lightning, and the bones in his body were almost broken. However, his tattered body was seething with the light of thunder and lightning, and there was a faint fluctuation of the reincarnation Great Tao. There was no doubt that this was his gain. Any divine punishment was formed by the interweaving of the Great Tao of the universe. The longer he endured, the more Great Tao fragments he would obtain. Su Yan, you can't withstand it. This is just the beginning. Let's see how long you can last. Seeing Su Yan's miserable appearance, the creature guarding the reincarnation fruit sneered. You want to undergo tribulation in the reincarnation universe? I have to say you're courting death. Get out here. At the critical moment of the great battle, Su Yan was infuriated by these words. His golden pupils erupted with divine light as he gazed towards the place where the reincarnation elixir grew. You bug, I advise you not to provoke me. Otherwise, you won't be able to see the complete reincarnation divine punishment. This creature replied coldly. It was quite calm. You've angered me. I'm going to beat you up. Su Yan released an explosive roar. His blood-soaked body crossed the great earth and tore through the void. In an instant, he arrived at the place where the reincarnation elixir grew. You're crazy. Get out of here. The creature hiding in the darkness was so angry it wanted to spit out blood. This was the place where the reincarnation elixir grew. Once it was destroyed, there would be nothing left. Leave the reincarnation elixir to me. As for you, get out here. Su Yan released a long roar. His aura hid the sky and covered the earth. In reality, the reincarnation divine punishment following him was even more ferocious. In that instant, the entire blood-colored world was about to collapse. It was simply like plowing the ground, about to destroy everything. Get out of here. A large hand with a terrifying aura stretched out from the condensed blood-colored spacetime at lightning speed. It was surging with bloody light and filled with a vicious aura. The collapsed space exploded as it blasted toward Su Yan's chest. I knew it. You're from the dark underworld race. Su Yan had finally confirmed his guess. His entire body was emitting flames of fury as he allowed the reincarnation divine punishment to attack him. His fist blossomed with golden light as it violently smashed forward with a whoosh. It collided with the large blood-colored hand. Boom! A muffled explosion rang out, almost suppressing the reincarnation divine punishment. This was a terrifying enemy who had been hiding in the dark for a long time in the corpse blood sea. No one knew what his identity and status was in the dark underworld race. His battle prowess was extraordinary. A casual palm strike from him was definitely not inferior to Zhu Tian's. In fact, it even seemed to surpass him. "I'll blow you up with one punch." Su Yan's pupils turned vertical. His battle prowess surged as if he wanted to split the sky. His entire body rushed into the condensed blood-colored spacetime. His words made the blood-colored entity so angry that it almost fainted. It wasn't afraid of Su Yan, but the reincarnation divine punishment also surged over in large batches. It caused the entire blood-colored spacetime to tremble. Moreover, a fist with a terrifying aura blasted over and locked onto its corporeal body. Bastard! The blood-colored entity was completely born. It was a fiend god with a head full of blood-colored hair that danced in the wind. His face was as sharp as a knife, and his body was filled with a terrifying corpse aura. When he awakened, his aura soared wildly. He was simply an unrivaled king of the world. His roar caused the tens of thousands of blood-stained mountains to tremble as if they were about to explode. Su Yan was astonished. He was too strong. This was the strongest enemy Su Yan had encountered since his debut. He didn't know if the berserk Zhu Tian could reach this level. In short, Su Yan couldn't fight against him in his current state. He could only revive the energy of the human-shaped puppet and let his fists burn brightly as they collided with the blood-colored entity's fist. The two experts fought and clashed in the reincarnation divine punishment. In just a few short collisions, Su Yan's corporeal body was about to shatter completely. His corporeal body was about to fall apart. That was because he had to endure the destruction of the reincarnation divine punishment. Su Yan let out an explosive roar. He still didn't care about the reincarnation divine punishment. The terrifying power of the divine punishment had already attacked the blood-colored entity, causing its terrifying corporeal body to tremble. Its aura showed signs of rapidly deteriorating. "Ah!" Su Yan laughed angrily. "I don't care how long you've lived, but you're afraid of time, afraid of the passage of time. Damn it!" The blood-colored entity was furious to the extreme. This was its flaw. It had lived for too long and had a fear of time and time. That was why it needed the reincarnation fruit to make up for its flaw. "You lunatic!" Following that, the blood-colored entity went into a frenzy. Su Yan endured the danger of his corporeal body exploding and pounced over again. He pulled tens of thousands of black lightning bolts to destroy himself. "Do you think I can't kill you?" The blood-colored entity roared angrily. Corpse chi surged all over its body. It was like a blood-colored mad demon. Its corporeal body was simply unbreakable. Su Yan's fists only caused sparks to fly when they landed on its body. It was simply unable to destroy its corporeal body. Su Yan's expression changed and turned pale. Just how strong was this fellow? He didn't have time to think too much at the moment. He did his best to trigger the reincarnation divine punishment to fight against it, because once the divine punishment ended, he would be attacked by a peerless enemy. Sure enough, every time he was struck by the reincarnation divine punishment, his aura would decline a bit. This made the blood-colored entity anxious. It simply didn't think Su Yan would be so crazy, wanting to destroy both jade and common stone with it. "Ah!" Su Yan let out a painful roar. He really couldn't hold on any longer. His corporeal body was in tatters and his bones were starting to break. His entire body was about to be crushed into pieces by the reincarnation divine punishment. At this critical juncture, a terrifying amount of potential gushed out from his body. This was the new potential that Su Yan had brought about by perfecting his heavenly deity's path. It caused his corporeal body to burn, and with every breath, his injuries improved a lot. Moreover, because he had instantly refined the energy of the reincarnation lightning, his corporeal body regained its lost true self, causing the most powerful immortal treasure in his body to finally awaken. You! Suddenly, the blood-colored entity saw Su Yan emitting the light of myriad calamity. He stood at the core like a supreme god. Myriad calamity body. The blood-colored entity's expression changed as it lost control and said, "No, this isn't the myriad calamity body. This is the myriad world body. How is this possible? How can you have such a body?" He felt incredulous. Could it be that he really didn't belong to this era? Announcing a reader group for the Way of the Emperor. Welcome to 743382394. Chapter 1064. Su Yan's path to becoming an enlightened master was further perfected. As he breathed in and out, his tattered body glowed and his wounds healed. Even the deteriorating essence and blood in his body began to strengthen. The process was very fast. Su Yan's body was beating like a heavenly drum, and his entire body was surging with divine power. His foundation was already immeasurable and astonishing, and he had stayed at the peak of the god spirit realm for a long time. The divine power stored in his body was finally fully released at this moment. Finally, under the suppression of the vast thunder and lightning, Su Yan's aura skyrocketed. Boom! Su Yan's body surged with a terrifying enlightened master's aura, forcibly opening a corner of the reincarnation divine punishment. His aura was terrifying. His injuries had healed by more than half, and his deteriorating essence and blood had recovered to its peak. Even when the Initiation Sutra was operating, his entire body was like a furnace of the great Tao, forcibly refining the energy of the reincarnation divine punishment in his body. The pure power of reincarnation ran through his body, urging Su Yan's physique to release its terrifying potential. Under the stimulation of the reincarnation energy, the immortal treasure that he had been unable to touch finally seemed to return to prehistory, crossing thousands of eras, with the pressure of the long river of time. Ah! Su Yan looked up to the sky and roared. His precious body surged with the terrifying power of the immortal treasure, and his pores spewed out the light of myriad calamities. Under the stimulation of the Initiation Sutra, the light of myriad calamities was magnificent and vast, like the release of a condensed universe. The scene was a little blurry, a little mysterious, and extremely majestic. The moment the myriad calamities moved slowly, it was as if they had crossed thousands of eras and arrived in this era. For a moment, the crushing reincarnation divine punishment collapsed, and the sun and moon were forever silent. Even these tens of thousands of huge mountains that were densely covered in large cracks exploded in an instant. The sky was filled with earth and rocks, and smoke and dust were swirling. The world was in chaos, and all of this originated from a figure, like the supreme god of heaven and earth, overlooking the common people. At this moment, Su Yan finally understood that his physique not only required the most fundamental evolution of the physical body, but also the stimulation of the myriad Tao's power to completely open the ultimate immortal treasure hidden in the human body. In the past, when Big Brother Prehistoric imparted the body nurturing technique to Su Yan had asked if it could perfect his physique. Of course, this was very difficult. In the end, Su Yan attracted the samsara divine punishment in the samsara universe, stimulating his physique to release its ultimate potential. This made Su Yan feel as if he had turned into the heavenly king of the myriad worlds, returning from his slumber. Myriad worlds body? The crimson creature's uncontrollable voice made Su Yan think to himself that his constitution was not the eternity body, but a type of eternity body? It was rumored that the myriad tribulation body was extremely difficult to cultivate. because their bodies were naturally filled with the aura of calamity, they were plagued by calamities. In the beginning, Su Yen felt that his physique might be the myriad tribulation physique. It was extremely difficult for him to open up the divine energy immortal treasure that he should have and restore his physique to the level of a supreme physique. Now, the Crimson Creature was saying that Su Yan's body type was a myriad world's body? This made Su Yan a little confused. What kind of physique was this? He had never heard of it before, but Su Yan could feel how terrifying and abnormal this physique was. It had even destroyed the samsara divine punishment. So what if it's the myriad world's body? The Crimson Creature roared. This is a physique that does not belong to this era. The universe's environment has changed. It has changed. We can never go back. The era of the myriad world's body has come to an end. Even if he activates the divine energy of the myriad world's body, he will not be able to excavate all the immortal treasures of the myriad world's body. It was right. Su Yan's physique had released its super strong potential, but compared to the legendary myriad world's body, there was a huge gap. The universe's environment had changed. It no longer belonged to the growth of the myriad world's body. If it were not for the energy of the samsara universe, Su Yen would not be able to activate the myriad world's body. If he really wanted to continue perfecting the myriad world's body, he had to find many legendary substances. This was very difficult, but there was also hope. Swoosh! Su Yan's figure suddenly disappeared from where he stood. When he reappeared, the Crimson Creature roared angrily. The extremely ferocious corpse chi in its body was released. Vaguely, it revealed a terrifying and boundless bloodline energy. This was an extremely terrifying fluctuation, as if the source of immortality was surging. The descendant of a taboo. Su Yan's eyes widened in anger. The Dark Nether clan did have a taboo, and he was the descendant of a taboo. Su Yen could feel a terrifying immortal divine might from his bloodline. Could it be that the mysterious giant sleeping in the depths of the Carrion Blood Sea was the taboo of this race? I have to get rid of it! Su Yen roared. The samsara divine punishment could no longer threaten Su Yen. Su Yen swept over with boundless black lightning and used his great magic to attack the Crimson Creature. Su Yen seemed to want to get rid of this big problem, but the Crimson Creature also wanted to get rid of Su Yen. Boom! When its aura was released to the extreme, a blurry figure appeared behind it. It was like a ruler of the universe. A pair of cold eyes opened, as if an unparalleled demon king had awoken from its slumber. Kill! The Crimson Creature coldly shouted, and moved along with the blurry figure behind it. In an instant, the heaven and earth rumbled and the sun and moon lost their light. The peerless power emitted suppressed the samsara divine punishment and caused it to explode. No one knew that a terrifying battle had erupted here. This battle was enough to stun the ages. This was also the strongest enemy Su Yen had encountered since his debut. When the two experts clashed together, it was as if a golden ocean and a boundless sea of blood had bombarded each other, giving birth to a great crack that caused the void to collapse. Boom! The two fists collided. Bloody light blossomed from the first exchange. Su Yan's body was stained with blood. He was wounded from the first exchange. His pores spurted out dense bloody light. Su Yen could feel the heaven-defying power of the Crimson Creature. It was just as it said, it had risen and fallen from one generation to the next. There were not many young powerhouses that could make it take action. Kill! Su Yen roared angrily. His head of blood-dyed hair danced about as his terrifying constitution was released. Blurry light of myriad worlds gushed out, containing the heavenly might of a king. He spared no effort to push the surging energy forward, making the Crimson Creature's body tremble. However, the Crimson Creature's body was unstoppable. It was as if it was forged from divine iron and difficult to destroy. Moreover, its bloodline power burned, and a surging ominous demonic aura surged. Under the suppression of the blurry light of myriad worlds, it released a peerless fighting strength and counterattacked, making the domain released by Su Yan's body unstable. I'm going to cut you down and pave my path to the heavenly deity realm. Su Yan became more and more courageous as he fought. He stood on the great wilderness with the dome of heaven above his head. With the primal chaos as the foundation and all living things as the source, he opened up the world and recreated the universe. At this moment, Su Yan's future king domain flourished greatly. It was as if an indistinct universe was being born. It emitted a type of unrivaled power that could not be changed. It could suppress all enemies. Kill! Su Yan roared, and his fighting strength instantly went berserk. In the face of Su Yan's earth-shattering fighting strength, the crimson creature's aura also began to change. It turned into a three-headed, six-armed crimson demon god with a ferocious aura surging. Its 6 arms evolved into a powerful seal, and its 3 heads roared toward the sky. Boom! A peerless battle was born. Energy fluctuations surged out and swept through all directions. The onlookers in the distant world all had a kind of flustered state of mind. They looked at the continuously collapsing reincarnation punishment. They did not know what was happening inside, but they could sense 2 terrifying divine powers constantly colliding. These energy ripples were vast and mighty, destroying the mountains and valleys. There were terrifying universe cracks everywhere. The world was being destroyed. The area within hundreds of thousands of miles was like a shattered mirror. It was really heading toward extinction. Emperor Nan and the others had solemn expressions. They seemed to feel that under the reincarnation punishment there was a fierce battle. 2 great powerhouses had launched a bloody collision. Unfortunately, they could not see the truth. Reincarnation punishment was still surging violently, constantly pouring down black lightning that filled the sky. They could not clearly see what was happening, but they could sense that 2 types of invincible fighting strength were awakening. They were colliding and fighting, and vast energy ripples were surging out. I seemed to smell a kind of fragrance. It's spreading for hundreds of thousands of miles. Could it be that the reincarnation fruits have ripened? Countless people trembled in fear. There were also some who were restless, but the reincarnation punishment had not yet ended. No one dared to rashly approach. The 2 great powerhouses were fighting with their lives on the line. They were locked in a fierce battle, causing space to collapse and countless universe cracks to appear. Finally, when the 6 reincarnation fruits recovered and surged with the resounding sound of reincarnation, the 3-headed, 6-armed crimson creature roared. Its 6 arms swayed and tore through the sky. It stepped forward to pluck the reincarnation fruits. You won't be able to escape. Su Yan's eyes were like cold lightning. His moves were large and powerful as he pressed forward. Every move and stance released a peerless fighting strength capable of shocking all king-level experts. He cut off the crimson creature's path and obstructed it. He was well aware that once this crimson creature swallowed the reincarnation fruits and made up for the flaws in his cultivation, his fighting strength would increase explosively once more. At that time, Su Yan would have no confidence in stopping him. Bastard, do you want to die? The crimson creature roared angrily. His eyes were filled with malevolence. He was aiming for the reincarnation fruits because they were very important to him. But Su Yan had been obstructing him all this time. This made the crimson creature furious. If not for the experts of the various races covetously eyeing this damaged universe, he wouldn't be in such a hurry to pluck the reincarnation fruits. The one who will die is you, Su Yan replied coldly. If you want to die, I'll fulfill your wish. The crimson creature had been forced to the extreme. If this continued, no one would be able to win. His crimson body was vaguely emitting a resplendent light. It was as if a concentrated immortal aura was being released. A fluctuation that made the world tremble emerged. At this moment, the crimson creature was extremely terrifying. The figure that appeared behind him was blazing brilliantly, as if it had been revived amidst the phenomena. It was like a vague true immortal that was emitting a terrifying immortal aura. As this aura appeared, the entire reincarnation heavenly punishment seemed to have lost control and was on the verge of exploding. A forbidden secret technique? Su Yan's pupils suddenly shrank. This secret technique gave Su Yan a feeling of fatal danger. This was a world-shaking great divine ability evolved from the power of the Crimson Creature's bloodline. It hadn't even been released, yet it had already collapsed space and time. The sky was filled with a rain of space-time light. It was as if a forbidden existence was awakening here. Su Yan turned pale with fright. Of course, it wasn't because of the Crimson Creature's supreme secret technique, but because the reincarnation maelstrom had changed. Golden light appeared, and it was exceptionally eye-catching in the darkness. The black maelstrom that covered thousands of miles was curled up with golden divine light. It was as if there were special golden symbols that were faintly discernible within the maelstrom. Moreover, the entire black maelstrom spun crazily. The aura was fusing together, and it was about to turn into a giant black wheel. Reincarnation wheel. The Crimson Creature was frightened. It immediately split open space and fled. This was because this was the legendary reincarnation lineage's most powerful divine ability, the reincarnation wheel. It could also be called one of the 9 most powerful divine abilities in history, the reincarnation secret technique. Chapter 1065. The entire reincarnation universe began to tremble violently. The heavens and earth were shaking, and all life seemed to be suffering. It was as if the end of the universe had arrived. The entire broken universe rapidly dimmed, and there was a sign of it turning into nothingness and heading towards death. The reincarnation universe is disappearing? The expressions of the great figures in the outside world changed. Anyone could see that the reincarnation universe was rapidly weakening and dimming. There were signs of it dispersing from the world and completely disappearing. This made the experts both surprised and delighted. They were surprised because once the reincarnation universe disappeared, the struggle for the reincarnation fruits would become a game between the various races. Only heaven knew what kind of desperate struggle would erupt. The death of a supreme expert was no longer a big deal. It would definitely set off a bloody struggle between the races. There were also some who were delighted. The experts of the Sealing Heaven domain were grinning from ear to ear. They seemed to have forgotten that the supreme expert Qiu Boyan was here. Once the reincarnation universe collapsed, he would immediately take action. Especially now, the reincarnation universe was declining too quickly and would soon vanish into thin air. Look! Many people cried out in alarm. The entire universe seemed to be in turmoil. Countless energy sources began to flow in reverse in a certain direction. During this process, the crushed world was trembling. The remaining energy essence of the reincarnation universe surged toward the land of reincarnation divine punishment. Heavens, the reincarnation divine punishment is still strengthening. Could the reincarnation fruits be so heaven-defying that they will attract the universe's heavenly punishment? Can the reincarnation fruits withstand this? Only heaven knows how heaven-defying this supreme divine medicine is. The divine punishment it attracts is too abnormal. Is it going to absorb all the energy essence of the declining universe? The experts discussed. They found it hard to believe the changes in the distant world. This was a massive amount of reincarnation energy. It covered the sky and covered the earth as it surged over and penetrated the jet-black vortex, when the source of the lightning tribulation surged with terrifying reincarnation tribulation light. Everyone present felt their hair stand on end. Even someone as strong as Zhu Tian was terrified. He said with a trembling voice, "This is a great reincarnation divine ability. It appears in the form of divine punishment. It can be called heavenly punishment." Heavenly punishment. These words caused a huge commotion. What was heavenly punishment? Something that could trigger the universe's laws to annihilate was heavenly punishment. Now, heavenly punishment was born in the reincarnation universe? Everyone was in disbelief. How could the reincarnation fruit be so heaven-defying? It would draw down heavenly punishment and bring about the destruction of the cosmos. Wasn't this a bit illogical? After all, the reincarnation fruit was born in the reincarnation universe. How could the heavenly punishment be born? Some people felt that something unpredictable had happened, but the heavenly punishment had already been born. Who would dare to pick the samsara fruit now? Even Shio Boyan, who was ready to cause trouble in the outside world, stopped. If he made a move at this juncture and angered the heavenly punishment, the reincarnation universe would release the remaining laws against him. Although the reincarnation universe had deteriorated to such a level, even if it had deteriorated to the extreme, it was not a problem for it to unleash the remaining energy to kill an almighty expert. This is bad. Yuan was shocked and said, Baokai, use the banners of demons. Can you break through the divine punishment and escape? That's right, Baokai. We still need your help at the critical moment. Tensor also spoke, but the two of them did not receive a reply. They turned their heads and saw Tai Baotsai's face fall. His face was dark and he did not know what to say. At this moment Tai Baokai was drowsy. His panda eyes were fighting as he tried to open his eyes. However, he was too weak. His panda eyes were becoming darker and darker. His large tongue was drooping as he panted heavily. Tai Baokai had consumed too much energy. He had used up all his strength in the battle with the North Demon. Now, Tai Baokai could not hold on any longer. He was drowsy and exhausted. Moreover, his internal injuries were serious. Look! Someone cried out in alarm. It was as if they were seeing the scene of all souls being destroyed. A magnificent black heavenly disk was born. Golden symbols rose from it, and it was filled with a supreme reincarnation will. It suppressed all the gods and made them tremble. The black heavenly disk was indeed a bit blurry and unreal. However, its aura was too grand. It was like the reincarnation heavenly disk that had slumbered for millions and millions of years. It emitted an energy that suppressed the long river of time. Boundless reincarnation light scattered down. When the mysterious light touched Su Yen, it was as if it was suppressed by the endless reincarnation. It was difficult to move. Not good. Su Yen released a low roar. His body and soul were about to be destroyed in a single exchange. His life was about to decline. No wonder the blood-colored entity fled, not even caring about the reincarnation fruit, because it also wanted to escape. This reincarnation heavenly disk was too powerful. It was a great killing technique of the reincarnation universe. The reincarnation light that gushed down illuminated Su Yen until his body and soul were about to be destroyed. However, if the blood-colored entity encountered it, he who was originally apprehensive of time feared that the blood-colored entity would immediately fall in a single exchange. Now, Su Yan's appearance was extremely old. His head of hair was snow-white. He was like an old man past his prime. His life was about to reach its end. The blood and energy in his body had also declined to the extreme. He could die at any moment. This was the terror of reincarnation. It couldn't be touched. Su Yen was enduring the trial of reincarnation. He was really going to die. He was going to die of old age here. I won't die. Su Yen released an angry roar. This old man past his prime was still full of fighting spirit. He raised his head to look at the reincarnation heavenly punishment and shouted, "No matter how strong you are still a Tao and a law. I, Su Yen, have moved unhindered through the universe for dozens of years. I am in control of 10,000 Taos. My body is supreme. I am the god of heaven and earth. I am unaffected by the universe's great Tao. You cannot kill me." His head of white hair danced in the wind. He was already past his prime and was about to die of old age. However, Su Yen wasn't willing to admit defeat. He wanted to fight to the end. However, this incomprehensible reincarnation tribulation light pressed down on Su Yan's body. It caused his blood and bones to age and his bodily functions to rapidly decline. His path to becoming a heavenly deity was about to be cut short because of this. Only Su Yan's golden pupils emitted a divine light that overflowed into the sky. They were still filled with the strongest spirit and fighting spirit. He looked at the reincarnation heavenly wheel. He had encountered it before. He had tried to decipher it and obtain its Tao and law. Now, he was facing it head-on. Su Yan was enduring the trial of the reincarnation heavenly wheel. His aging body could still emit the fighting strength of his prime. Once reincarnation appeared, the human body would decline. However, this wasn't true aging. Instead, under the influence of a Tao and law, he was releasing his strongest power to continue perfecting his path to becoming a heavenly deity. His aging body resonated and radiated the aura of a heavenly deity. He was like a seed buried in the primordial chaos. It took root and sprouted, turning into a huge tree. This tree was a little old, but his spirit and fighting spirit were still there. Su Yan didn't despair. He evolved his strongest Tao and law. His entire body was like a condensed small universe, glowing and emitting heat. However, the reincarnation tribulation light was too strong. It crushed Su Yan until he trembled. His powerful aura was starting to dim. He really felt that he was going to die. He felt that he was being suppressed by time and was being killed by time. 1. At the moment of despair, a beam of light surged from Su Yan's body. It was like a condensed little golden person. He sat cross-legged in time and chanted the sound of the great Tao. He stretched his body in time and was actually bathing in the reincarnation light. He used reincarnation as nourishment. He was absorbing the great Tao of reincarnation and listening to the Tao sound of reincarnation. What was this? This was Su Yan's innate divine ability. He hadn't used it for many years. He called it the Fist of Time. Now, the Fist of Time awakened on its own. It glowed and emitted heat. It sat cross-legged in Su Yan's chest, causing Su Yan's chest to rise and fall violently. It was like a tsunami rumbling as it devoured the reincarnation tribulation light. Kill! Su Yan, who was past his prime, roared. He circulated the initial sutra to resist the reincarnation tribulation light. One had to admit that the current Su Yan was too strong. He wasn't a true deity of heaven and earth yet, but he was emitting a peerless foundation. In the process of resisting the reincarnation tribulation light, his body's functions were ignited. He was endowed with the aura of life and the overflowing charm of the great Tao. He was walking towards youth. However, the strongest heavenly punishment born in the reincarnation universe continuously attacked Su Yan. He was walking towards old age in his youth. It was as if he had been slashed by time. His aura was greatly damaged, and his appearance was once again that of old age. No one saw this terrifying scene. This was Su Yan's calamity. He could easily decline and die. Su Yan walked towards old age again and again. However, there were times when he used his strongest power to support the domain and recover to his golden age. This happened 9 times in a row, exhausting all of Su Yan's foundation. Su Yan, who fought against heaven and earth, was a little frightened at this moment. The heavenly samsara disk was still there. It looked like it wouldn't give up until it destroyed him. If it really came again, Su Yan would find it difficult to withstand. Even under the suppression of the heavenly samsara disk, Su Yan couldn't have time to break through. Suddenly, a strange fragrance of flowers appeared. Su Yan breathed hard. His aging body glowed, and he almost recovered to his youth. Okay. Su Yan was moved. His golden eyes stared at the reincarnation fruit. He had really matured. The 6 fruits seemed to have turned into 6 black figures with different postures. As the 6 fruits spat, 6 divine sounds blasted and combined to form the sound of the 6 paths of reincarnation. This extremely complicated sound of the Great Tao explained the mysteries of reincarnation. The 6 fruits seemed to be one. The sound of reincarnation penetrated Su Yan's ears and exploded. The reincarnation fruits carried the Great Tao of reincarnation. They spread out in front of Su Yan's eyes. This was a great opportunity that people dreamed of. At this moment, Su Yan witnessed the ultimate evolution of the reincarnation fruits during their growth process. The 6 great Taos merged and were filled with the aura of opening the 6 paths of reincarnation. The figure sitting cross-legged on his chest suddenly became extremely bright. It seemed to have divided into 6 figures, each corresponding to the 6 fruit. They were shining and emitting a vague but grand sound of reincarnation. Su Yan was pleasantly surprised. The body nurturing technique was awakened, and he wanted to steal the origin energy of the 6 fruit. However, Su Yan found that the body nurturing technique's ability was somewhat insufficient. This meant that the reincarnation fruits were too powerful and difficult to steal. The second level of the body nurturing technique. At this moment, a great Tao diagram appeared in Su Yan's mind. This Tao diagram seemed to carry the universe and emitted the mysteries of the universe. It was as if Su Yan was looking at a prehistoric Big Brother sitting cross-legged within the 4 poles of the universe. As he breathed in and out, the entire universe trembled. Boundless divine power penetrated his body. The devouring power was unimaginable. Chapter 1066. How powerful! Su Yan sucked in a cold breath. The second level of the body nurturing art was too powerful. It was much stronger than the first level. If the first level was to steal the power of the origins of famous mountains and lands, then the second level was to plunder. It was to plunder the essence of the universe's 4 poles and penetrate one's body. Pfft. Just as Su Yan was immersed in the second level of the body nurturing art, the samsara wheel's radiance caused Su Yan's body to tremble. He was sent flying as blood spurted out from his body. Su Yan cried out in pain, but he still turned over and got up. His messy hair danced in the wind, and his pair of golden eyes were extremely sharp. It's just heavenly punishment. It's just an inanimate object. You can't kill me. Su Yan clenched his fists as his chest heaved. The golden avatar circulated the vague power of the samsara great Tao and forcefully resisted Su Yan's aging body. He stabilized the chaotic blood essence fluctuations in his body as the second level of the body nurturing art flashed in his consciousness. This was a mystic art that the prehistoric Big Brother had imparted to Su Yan. As long as he had the ability to learn it, his cultivation speed would be very abnormal. However, Su Yan was also heavily injured in the process. He crawled up from the pool of blood again and again, becoming more courageous as he fought. Finally, Su Yan looked up to the sky and inhaled. This inhalation was like a whale sucking in water. The vast divine might of heaven and earth penetrated his body, causing Su Yan's aura to reach its peak. His long robes fluttered as his blood-stained hair danced. His eyes looked at the 6 fruits that were emitting the light of the 6 paths of reincarnation. His eyes flashed with a blazing light. "Steal for me!" Su Yan shouted as he released the second level of the body nurturing art. It was filled with the power to steal the fortune of heaven and earth. 1. At this moment, Su Yan's innate ability awakened. It emitted a terrifying power that caused the 6 samsara fruits to rumble. They had already ripened. Now, in the second level of the body nurturing art, Su Yan had taken away one of the 6 fruits' origin energy. A total of 6 origin energies were filled with the power of the 6 paths of reincarnation. They released the great Tao's heavenly melody as they rushed out. The value of the 6th tier material was unimaginable. It was a substance that could make even mighty figures go crazy. Now, the 6 paths of reincarnation directly pierced through his chest, nourishing the tiny golden person within. For a moment, the tiny golden person shone brilliantly. Su Yan's chest was translucent, releasing a thick golden divine radiance that tore apart the void, wishing to see the everlasting break through reincarnation time and space. This little person revived on its own. With a loud roar, it opened up the 6 paths of reincarnation, wanting to dominate the great Tao of reincarnation. Ha ha ha! Su Yan looked up to the sky and laughed. Once his intrinsic divine ability completed its transformation, he would be able to grasp the great Tao of reincarnation. At this moment, Su Yan finally understood that obtaining a single reincarnation fruit was nothing. Only by directly obtaining 6 reincarnation fruits and combining them together could he obtain a true reincarnation pill. There was only 1 reincarnation elixir, not 6. Of course, Su Yan was also a little confused. Could it be that the reincarnation fruit hadn't fully matured yet? 6 reincarnation fruits had to be gathered together to form the reincarnation pill? Legend had it that the reincarnation fruit couldn't be eaten carelessly as it could easily lead to death. Then, could it be that they had to be combined together to be consumed? But no matter what, Su Yan had already stolen the 6th level chi of origin and obtained a part of the reincarnation fruit's effects. He could grasp the great Tao of reincarnation, a great Tao that everyone dreamed of. Once he grasped the great Tao of reincarnation, it was hard to imagine what kind of power he could control. Boom! In an instant, the gigantic reincarnation wheel that occupied the top of the sky once again scattered down the boundless light of reincarnation, radiating towards Su Yan. This time, it was even more terrifying and abnormal than the last time. Great reincarnation tribulation. Su Yan's eyes blazed as he roared in anger. Today, even if I don't grasp the great Tao of reincarnation, I still have a way to destroy you. You're just a Tao and technique of the divine punishment, just a divine ability. You want to kill me? Impossible. Dong. Su Yan stepped on the desolate land, the sky above his head, turning into a god of heaven and earth. With chaos as the root and myriad Tao as the source, he reignited and opened the door to the heaven-defying path of heaven deity. As he breathed, divine energy filled the sky and entered his body. What a joke! This was the body-nurturing technique that even the prehistoric Big Brother valued. As Su Yan breathed, the light of the sun, moon, and stars all over the sky rolled down and gathered in his body. Even the boundless origin of the earth was included and forcefully swallowed into his body. Of course, this was not what Su Yan was relying on. No matter how much energy he absorbed now, he could not resist the light of reincarnation tribulation. Sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting. Su Yan waved his sleeve, and a supreme treasure embryo was summoned by him. The sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting was a supreme treasure embryo that the Han family's ancestors had spent a long time collecting the essence of millions of mountains and the divine essence of the sun and moon in the heavens. In the future, it had the hope of evolving into a mighty divine weapon. Now that Su Yan had summoned the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting, he was determined to use the power of this treasure to break through to the heaven deity realm. The god of heaven and earth that he had evolved into was more difficult than expected. Now, Su Yan stood in the center of the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting, like a king that controlled the universe. As he breathed, the vast power of the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting penetrated into Su Yan's world. In the face of such majestic divine energy, who could withstand it? Even a mighty figure would find it difficult to swallow it in a short time. However, Su Yan was now a grandmaster of the mystical arts, controlling the momentum of heaven and earth. He also had the body-nurturing technique to complement it. Now, as he swallowed, it was as if he had swallowed a sea of stars and refined giant mountains. Endless divine energy penetrated Su Yan's body, giving him a peerless foundation. Roar! He let out a loud roar toward the sky, swallowing rivers and mountains, his aura soaring to the heavens. Rumble! A grand aura tore through heaven and earth, opening up a new world. Su Yan's essence, energy, and spirit were ferocious to the extreme. As he breathed, the sun and moon lost their light, the mountains and rivers rumbled, and the great Tao of heaven and earth collapsed. At the same time, this was accompanied by a shocking aura of a heaven deity, awakening and reviving. The reincarnation light of calamity that filled the sky was forcefully shattered by Su Yan's unstoppable force. That terrifying divine power pressed against the peak of the sky. Blood essence surged, shaking the reincarnation wheel until it shook slightly. This was too tyrannical. Su Yan was the great Tao heavenly furnace that was unsealed. He swallowed the endless essence of the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains, painting, perfecting his path as the god of heaven and earth. When he released it to the extreme, the world exploded. The black lightning that filled the sky collapsed. There was an indescribable aura awakening, blasting a large hole in the sea of lightning. Unbelievable! What happened? Did the reincarnation fruit survive the heavenly punishment? The onlookers were all frightened. They saw the great reincarnation tribulation tremble, releasing an aura that surged with great momentum. It struck the black samsara wheel until it trembled, becoming somewhat illusory and indistinct, as if it would return to nothingness. I hear the sound of the Tao. It seems to be describing reincarnation. It seems like reincarnation has really matured. I am fortunate enough to witness the true appearance of the legendary supreme divine medicine. This can be considered one of the most powerful good fortunes to be unearthed since the chaos ruins were opened. It will inevitably cause all the powerhouses of the world to go crazy. An old powerhouse revealed a look of wild joy. He had caught the direction of the source. The heavenly sound of the great Tao that shook the soul surged out. This was the sound of the great Tao that erupted as Su Yan's chest rose and fell. The little golden person sitting in the center divided into 6, evolving the shape of the reincarnation fruit. The 6 little people seemed to represent the 6 paths. They chanted sutras at the same time, emitting the unsurpassed profound mysteries of the 6 paths of reincarnation. Su Yan's chest rose and fell. The sound of the great Tao rumbled. This great Tao was finally born. This was the strength of reincarnation. It was difficult to describe, but Su Yan had truly grasped it. His mind was surging. This was an unrivaled secret technique. Although it wasn't the strongest reincarnation secret technique in history, Su Yan had grasped the unsurpassed great Tao of reincarnation. Once this innate secret technique was used, it would definitely be a great supernatural ability that could shock the heavens and make ghosts and gods weep. The calamity is dissipating. Reincarnation has really matured. Without the suppression of the thunder tribulation, the sound of reincarnation is becoming clearer and clearer. Many people excitedly discuss. No one knew that this was the sound of the great Tao that came from Su Yan's chest. As for the reincarnation fruit, Su Yan hadn't picked it yet. However, he had completely overturned the source of the origin formation. In the past, no one had taken the reincarnation fruit away. But Su Yan was different. He grasped the profound mysteries of reincarnation and directly cut off this place. This was because Su Yan didn't know whether the reincarnation fruit should be picked or whether it was completely mature. If he could meet the prehistoric Big Brother, then this problem would be left to him. The land that was cut off by Su Yan was directly stored into his void bag. Su Yan was satisfied. Finally, his eyes emitted the might of a heavenly god. After accumulating to the limit, he began to break through and stepped into the heavenly god realm. Even because of the sun, moon, rivers, and mountains painting, Su Yan's aura soared like lightning to the peak of the 4th heavenly god realm. This great reincarnation calamity finally dissipated. Su Yan felt regretful because what he wanted the most was the construction technique of the heavenly reincarnation disc. Unfortunately, he wasn't strong enough and couldn't suppress the heavenly reincarnation disc. Could it be that the strongest reincarnation technique in history was going to be ruined in his hands? Have to be content. Su Yen let out a brilliant smile. The harvest was already great, seizing an opportunity that even a major power couldn't obtain. I'm already a peak fourth heavenly god realm. This realm, I've finally reached it. Su Yen laughed happily, thinking of many things. Several decades of bloodshed had passed. One step after another, Su Yen finally stepped into the heavenly god realm on this day. Powerhouse, this is just the beginning. Su Yan's eyes were sharp. He was very clear that the future path was still very long. There were still many challenges waiting for him. At this moment, the lightning tribulation slowly dissipated, revealing a world full of devastation. A gloomy world, lacking vitality. This universe was about to die. Su Yen could feel it. He grasped the great Tao of reincarnation and had a clear understanding of the state of this universe. Su Yen sighed. Even the universe would die, why would cultivators? Would the taboo not die? No one knew the answer. Where did the reincarnation fruit go? When the lightning tribulation dissipated, the sound of reincarnation disappeared. A large number of cultivators rushed over, forming a dark mass. They didn't find the reincarnation fruit, but many people saw a figure in tattered clothes. He looked very down and dirty, almost indistinguishable. Su Xianren is still alive. Many people exclaimed, but there was also a group of people who were frightened. What's there to be afraid of? Su Xianren can't hold on anymore. The reincarnation fruit was definitely stolen by him. There were also people who revealed killing intent. Many people couldn't control themselves and rushed up, wanting to ask about the reincarnation fruit's whereabouts. Chapter 1067. The matter of the reincarnation fruit had already spread out and alarmed the entire chaotic ruins. Although there were few records of the legendary supreme divine medicine, according to legend, the fruit could allow one to live another life. Even the most powerful experts were no exception. Moreover, once obtained, one would be able to comprehend the great Tao of reincarnation. Who wouldn't be jealous of such a treasure? Now, it was very likely that Su Yen had obtained it. This caused all the experts to be envious. In this devastated world, murderous intents rippled and rolled over. The world began to become restless. Many powerful cultivators leaked their auras and created a magnificent scene of divine light shooting into the heavens. However, although Su Yen seemed to be seriously injured, many people didn't dare to act blindly without thinking. What was Su Xianren's background? He had a forbidden backer and even cut off the head of the heaven-suppressing battle god with a single slash. Such ferocious might truly made them bold. Even if Su Yen really took away the reincarnation fruit, the number of experts who dared to make a move was absolutely limited. The miserable state of the sealing heaven region was still vivid in everyone's mind. The tragic deaths of 5 powerful experts had alarmed all the peak races. There were truly few powers who dared to make things difficult for Su Yen. Of course, the younger generation experts were an exception. After all, this was a conquest of the younger generation. Su Yan's backer couldn't come out and teach them a lesson, right? Su Xianren is seriously injured. He can be considered lucky to have survived such a powerful reincarnation tribulation. I suspect that Su Xianren has really taken away the reincarnation fruit. Let's wait and see. We won't make a move unless it's a critical moment. Who knows what other trump cards Su Xianren has? Everyone was discussing spiritedly. Many people also rushed over in batches into this ruined world. Many people's murderous intents had already leaked out and were chilling to the bone. This ice-cold murderous intent swept up Su Yan's blood-stained hair. He stood in this ruined place and was thinking about how to leave at this moment. The reincarnation universe was on the verge of extinction. Once this day came, the experts of the sealing heaven region would definitely not sit still and kill their way in. At that time, the situation would be very unfavorable for him. Even if the reincarnation fruit disappeared, the experts would definitely think that he had taken it away. If I use the great Tao of reincarnation to shake the reincarnation universe and cause it to collapse in advance, I should be able to seize the opportunity to rush out. If I can't get out, it'll be miserable. Just the reincarnation fruit is enough to make them unable to sit still. Su Yen muttered in his heart. He had the human-shaped puppet and could erupt to the peak of the Divine King realm at any time. Even if a space-time storm really occurred, there was still hope for him to survive. Su Yen. A large group of experts rushed over, occupying all directions, many of them strangers. Su Yen, you are so ruthless. You set up a trap and killed so many passageways. You are a devil. Twos. To be. All the cultivators present eyed Su Yen covetously. Su Yen had snatched the reincarnation fruit. He had become the public enemy. Su Yen was not surprised by this scene. His cold eyes quickly swept across the countless people gathered in all directions. He shouted coldly, ridiculous. What does this have to do with me? Since you want to kill me, go ahead. Don't pour dirty water on me. His hair fluttered and his eyes were filled with coldness. He scanned the people gathered in all directions and finally fixed his gaze on Zhu Tian's group. Su Yan's heart was filled with killing intent. He really hoped that the destruction of the reincarnation universe would be delayed for a while. Su Yan, who had already stepped into the peak of the fourth heaven of the heavenly god realm, wanted to take the opportunity to kill a few great enemies. Su Yan, you're too arrogant. The red-eyed man pointed at him and roared, I'm not as good as you, but you set up a trap and killed my relatives. How can you be so vicious? You're a rising star of the burial region race. Have you forgotten the tragic experience of the burial region race all these years? You're spouting nonsense. Su Yan's eyes were filled with coldness. He stepped out with a terrifying aura and said coldly, I, Su Yan, have killed countless people. If this trap was set up by me, can you still stand here and talk to me alive? Since you're ignorant, don't drag my race into this. You killed them, but you don't dare to admit it. The young man's attitude was furious. He pointed at him and roared, You've killed so many people in the great Tao city. You kill people like flies. Aren't you afraid of dying without a burial place? Ah. Su Yan laughed and said coldly, They deserve to die. I, Su Yan, have never denied it. As for why they died, it's clear as day. I, Su Yan, have never denied it. I've said it just now. The trap has nothing to do with me. The red-eyed young cultivator calmed down a little. That's right, Su Yan didn't kill enough people. Since he was the one who did it, Su Yan didn't kill enough people. There was no reason for him to hide it. Su Yan, you're too arrogant. You killed so many people for your own selfish desires. It doesn't matter if you don't admit it. You have to admit the reincarnation fruit, right? Someone sneered secretly. Boom! As soon as he finished speaking, Su Yan's palm stretched out like lightning and grabbed an old cultivator who was over 50 years old from the crowd. You! The old cultivator was so scared that he almost peed his pants. He was like a little chick that was grabbed by Su Yan's golden hand. There was no way for him to fight back. If you stand out openly, you'll be the same as him. Su Yan pointed at the red-eyed young cultivator and said coldly, I still respect you as a man. But you stabbed me in the back. You're not even worth a fart in my eyes. The old cultivator was kicked into the air by Su Yan. In this world filled with bloody light, his eyes were like lightning as he looked down at the cultivators gathered in all directions. He said coldly, Come at me if you want to kill me. His voice was like thunder. Many people were so shocked that they did not dare to speak. However, the red-eyed young man said in a gentle tone, You really didn't kill her? Are you done? Su Yan glared at him and shouted, You can curse at the sky 3 times. Won't you find out who set up the trap? In fact, Su Yan had been searching for the blood-red creature, but he could not find where it was hiding. Su Yen was just saying it casually. Who knew that the young man would get angry and say, "Which bastard killed my sister? Come out, you cowardly turtle bastard! Come out, come out!" Su Yen was stunned. He stared at the young man and cursed. When he noticed that Su Yen was looking at him, the young man immediately understood that it was not Su Yen who did it. It was someone else. Su Yen suddenly winked at him. The young man was a bit embarrassed and had an awkward expression. However, his expression changed greatly in the next moment. This was because the entire ruined land was shaking. It was as if a tsunami had struck the earth. "It's you. How could it be you?" The young man's face turned green. He felt that it was Su Yen who did it because he was attacking him. Which bastard said that Su Xianren was about to die? The cultivators gathered here were all trembling. A large number of cultivators were so weak that they were about to fall to the ground and shiver. It was because at this moment Su Yen was too terrifying. His aura soared to the peak in an instant. The boundless ruined land trembled and sank. Even the heavenly deities were so scared that they let out wolf howls. Was he still human? They really felt that a king was reviving. "Save me!" The young man cried out in fear. At first he thought that Su Yen was going to take action and kill him, but now, he felt as if he had fallen into purgatory. A large hand of death grabbed towards his head. "Get the hell out here!" Su Yen roared loudly. His voice was like thunder collapsing layers of the void. He brandished a fist, shaking up time and space. It contained endless destructive force as it smashed forward murderously. He was going to force the blood-colored creature out from within. "Su Yen, I will remember you. Just you wait, I will come again." The blood-colored creature turned around and left. It wasn't that he couldn't defeat Su Yen, but rather that his current state didn't allow him to come out for a long time. He could only endure his anger and withdraw. "Where do you think you are going?" Su Yan's eyes widened. He rushed up, brandishing his fist and smashing it towards the space the blood-colored creature was escaping into. He hammered down until this entire region became incredibly distorted. He was going to force the blood-colored creature out. It really isn't him. On the other hand, this young man seemed to have lost his soul. His eyes chased after Su Yen, who was the mastermind behind the scenes. His expression changed greatly. There was guilt and reverence. Su Yen is going to escape. The sagely battle god's expression was cold. He wanted to take action, but he didn't dare directly attack Su Yen. He was worried that he wouldn't be able to stop him and lose face. Chi! All of a sudden, a blood-colored halberd with world-shocking sharpness hacked open the sky, cutting off Su Yan's escape path. Almost. "It seems like I can't stop him." Su Yan's eyes were cold. He wanted to get rid of a great threat, but Zhu Tian intercepted him, causing Su Yen to lose track of the blood-colored creature. "Su Yen, our battle isn't over yet. How can you escape? Let's decide who's going to live and who's going to die now." Zhu Tian carried the blood-colored halberd with one arm. Just as he was about to close in, Su Yen let out a furious roar, causing the entire ruined land to tremble. Countless territories trembled as boundless cracks appeared. The surrounding people were stunned. Su Yan's aura was too tyrannical. He was like an eternal heavenly furnace with surging essence blood, releasing the terrifying aura of a heavenly deity. His roar shattered the heavens. "Come here and accept your death." Su Yen was like a wild god of war as he crossed the sky and arrived in front of Zhu Tian. He punched out, causing the world to change colors. The deities trembled as they saw the entire ruined land collapse. Earth and rocks rolled about in the sky, filling the sky with smoke. There were also bursts of bloody light, accompanied by the sound of bones cracking. It was so savage that it caused the scalps of the experts to go numb. They saw Su Yenba making his move. With a punch, he sent Zhu Tian flying, leaving behind streaks of bloody light in the void. Streaks after streaks of bloody light, the entire world seemed to have fallen silent. The deities felt like their livers were splitting apart. What was this? Zhu Tian was sent flying by Su Xianren with a single punch. His body was about to collapse. Countless people felt like their livers were splitting apart. They found it hard to believe that Su Yan had stepped into the king realm. Zhu Tian. The people of the ancestral hall were scared silly. Their pupils dilated as they couldn't imagine what was happening. It was like a dream. Roar. Suddenly, people saw Zhu Tian, who had been sent flying, rise up from the ground in an instant. He released his aura completely and ignited his imprint. His potential soared wildly as he let out an earth-shattering roar. The primal chaos began to roar like a sea. At this moment, the young Overlord standing tall between heaven and earth seemed to have been knocked down. His powerful aura was like a deflated balloon. Zhu Tian was very strong and had been hiding his strength all along. Su Xianren was even more terrifying. He seemed to have also obtained a great fortune. The two's sudden awakening of their auras made the young experts all over the world tremble. They were somewhat doubting their lives. They could actually become even more powerful. Su Yan, hand over your life. Zhu Tian seemed to have gone mad. The blood-colored halberd ignited. At this moment, he was extremely terrifying. The Zhu Tian imprint, which had been peerless in the past, was blazing with a terrifying immortal light. Come here. I'll beat you to death with 3 punches and cripple the foundation you're so proud of. Su Yan took a step forward. The space exploded and the earth seemed to be on the verge of collapse. The experts felt as if they had fallen into purgatory. They felt as if an ancient divine mountain was awakening and their bodies were about to explode. Chapter 1068. Sand and stones flew about amidst the wailing of ghosts and gods. Every inch of space was trembling as an ice-cold, killing intent spread out. Finally, Su Yan's suppression shattered every inch of spacetime. It was as though a sword was tearing through the heavens, ready to slaughter all life in the universe. The violent storms it stirred up shook the entire world. These shocking words were somewhat familiar. The gods couldn't remember who Su Yan had said these words to. Now that these words had appeared once again, the gods felt as though they were dreaming. However, Su Yan's terrifying aura was like a giant god that filled the entire starry sky. How is this possible? Ma Ilyang and the others were frightened. Their eyes were filled with disbelief. Was this still the Su Yan from back then? Was this still the Su Xianren? How did Su Xianren become so terrifying and abnormal overnight? His combat strength was completely different from before. Many young overlords seemed insignificant before him. Could it be that Su Yan had secretly eaten all the reincarnation fruits? Someone let out a trembling voice. His eyes had turned red because this was an opportunity that even powerful experts couldn't obtain. But now it had been obtained by Su Yan. They even suspected that Su Yan had secretly eaten all the reincarnation fruit. Otherwise, how could they explain how he had become so powerful and peerless? He could be considered an invincible king. Such peerless heavenly might made them despair. How could they compete with him in the future? How could they chase after him like this? Zhu Tian was sent flying with a single punch just now. Am I dreaming? That's Zhu Tian, the invincible inheritor of the ancestral hall. Unbelievable. Is this still Su Xianren? He must have eaten the reincarnation fruits and obtained a great fortune that even powerful experts would be jealous of. Many people lost control of their voices as they roared with trembling voices. Although Zhu Tian had reversed his combat strength at the critical moment and activated the invincible Zhu Tian imprint, causing his aura to surge, he had indeed been sent flying with a single punch from Su Yan. It was a shocking scene. Zhu Tian emitted a bone-chilling aura like a mad demon. The awakening of the Zhu Tian imprint had pushed his combat strength to the peak. No, Zhu Tian. The experts from the ancestral hall, who were entrenched in the outside world, had a drastic change in expression. One of the eminent elders growled, Although the ancestral heaven imprint is said to be invincible in this world, Zhu Tian cannot use it for a long period of time in his current state. However, Su Xianren's battle prowess is too strong. Zhu Tian can only fight with the ancestral heaven imprint. That's right. However, the ancestral heaven imprint isn't something that can be used for a long period of time. This is the strongest imprint that our ancestral hall has accumulated over millions of years. Only the king domain can fuse with it. The legend of invincibility in the ancestral heaven wasn't just a legend, but a fact. Every time an ancestral heaven obtained the ancestral heaven imprint and reached the limit of the king realm, the ancestral heaven imprint would disappear. This was also the reason why the ancestral heaven imprint had accumulated an unparalleled amount of king realm heritage over the years. However, this foundation could only be absorbed after reaching the king realm. Only then could one integrate the strongest cultivation essence of the various ancestral heaven imprints and create a symbol of invincibility in the universe. However, if Zhu Tian were to use it now, it would definitely be very difficult to control. It might even deplete the essence of the Zhu Tian imprint. Don't stop ancestral heaven, a grand elder coldly said. If we don't kill Su Yan, we won't be able to sleep in peace. He's already so strong, so we must use the ancestral heaven imprint to erase him. Even if we have to exhaust our king domain heritage, we must kill him. They had originally wanted to stop ancestral heaven's crazy actions, but when they saw Su Yan, their reason was immediately overtaken by hatred. They had to kill Su Yan. So it turns out that we don't have much of a connection. You and I aren't experts of the same domain. Ancestral heaven's aura completely awakened as he used his ultimate method. As the ancestral heaven imprint spewed out a peerless divine might and pierced through his body, this generation's ancestral heaven emitted an aura of invincibility. Terrifying energy circulated, causing the faces of the deities to pale. They could clearly sense a type of invincible momentum that originated from the long river of time. This was an unchangeable invincible momentum that gathered in this world, filled with an aura that could suppress all the kings of the universe. Suddenly, some people seemed to see the essence, energy, and spirit of the invincible ancestral heaven gather in this era, forming an unparalleled heavenly might that shocked the world. But I didn't expect you to cultivate to this step. But your legend should come to an end. Ancestral heaven roared. The invincible aura of the past ancestral heavens rippled out like a surging sea, sweeping through the entire space-time. The energy that surged out shook the world, suppressing the vast space-time until it was dark. In the heavens and earth, only this generation's ancestral heaven was invincible since ancient times, releasing a ferocious might that could suppress all. What a terrifying ancestral heaven! This is the legend of the ancestral hall's invincible past. When ancestral heaven brings out his foundation, who can contend against him? Ancestral heaven's invincible legend has never been broken. Ancestral heaven has used his ultimate method. Will Su Xianren be able to withstand it? How can Su Xianren break the legend of invincibility? I seem to be able to see a terrifying overlord soaking the skies in blood. This battle caused all the cultivators present to go into a frenzy. Some people were shouting excitedly, but when the invincible ancestral heaven's aura erupted and surged over, it suppressed all voices of discussion. Everything became blurry and was destroyed under the supreme suppression. All the energy converged on Su Yan, drowning his figure. It was going to bury him in the legend of ancestral heaven's invincible past generations. Su Xianren is also invincible under the heavens, destroying all the legends and legends of the world. Someone shouted in anger. It was one of Su Yan's admirers. He saw a blazing figure rise from the blurry world. His feet stepped on the desolate wilderness, and his head was the dome of heaven. He was like a giant god of heaven and earth, terrifying beyond compare. Boom! Su Yan's fist suppressed the world. He blasted out a fist, filling the sky with divine power and smashing apart a sea of stars. Living in a legend, this isn't your energy. They don't belong to you. Su Yan's aura devoured the heavens. It was as if a giant god of heaven and earth was born. His figure dove down close to the ground and struck the end of the earth. It was difficult for people to catch sight of Su Yan's figure. They only saw the end of the earth collapse. Su Yan was like a Kuan Ping emerging from the sea. The tyrannical fluctuations of a heavenly deity erupted. At this moment, nothing could suppress Su Yan's elegance. Ancestral heaven's invincible legends were united into one. So what if they blossomed in this era? Su Yan attacked with tyrannical force. Boundless heavenly deity aura surged within him. He walked a completely new path. Once awakened, it could be said that he was a small, condensed universe. He wouldn't be suppressed by the universe's rules and would release his own terrifying power to his heart's content. Suppress. Ancestral heaven roared toward the sky. His blazing figure seemed to be standing in a legend. He released a vast tide of darkness that filled the starry sky. Layer after layer, it was as if millions upon millions of vague tides of darkness had awakened from their slumber. They enveloped the entire starry sky and came crashing down with a supreme stance. The deities turned pale. Even Su Yan's admirers were terrified. What kind of energy was this? This was too ridiculous. Ancestral heaven was actually so terrifying in this domain. He was fully deserving of being called a supreme existence, the invincible ancestral heaven who lived in legends and legends. Good. Ancestral heaven has brought out his trump cards. There's no doubt that Su Yan is destined to nurse a grievance from the start. He can't afford to fight. It's not that he's not in the same domain as ancestral heaven. There have been many invincible experts in the past, but how many of them can continue their glory and prosperity from one era to the next? Only our ancestral hall's ancestral heaven can look down on time and space. He's invincible among his peers. The ancestral hall's elders were agitated. This was ancestral heaven's invincible might. He could sweep through the world, look down on all heroes and dominate the world. Ancestral heaven had done it. He was terrifyingly ferocious and made all the young overlords tremble. Was he going to slaughter his way to the world and dominate the world? Boom. Suddenly, everyone saw the dark tide tremble amidst the heart-splitting scenes. It was as if a vague universe was erupting and a terrifying figure was awakening. He seemed to have propped up the four poles of the universe and grasped the momentum of the universe, releasing a heaven-defying power. That was a brilliant figure that propped up the darkness. He was like a golden heavenly king that overflowed the heavens. No matter how much you have, it's just an external force. It's not something you cultivated. Get over here and I'll beat you up. Su Yan let out a long roar. His aura was wild to the extreme, and his roar riddled the darkness with thousands of holes. What kind of terrifying power was this? When the divine power in his body surged out, it was as if he had propped up a world and opened up an invincible universe. With the primal chaos as the foundation and all living things as the source. When the origin profound was awakened and the origin scripture, the strongest scripture in the world, was activated, the dark tide collapsed. It was as if an ancient imperial star was being unsealed. It emitted a vast and mighty domain fluctuation and a divine might that could devour 100,000 li. Everyone present was dumbfounded. The shock in their hearts was indescribable. The great battle surged violently and reached the pinnacle. It was a battle that created a legend. The whole world was filled with cosmic cracks. When they erupted, a corner of the reincarnation universe was directly shattered. The cracks were endless. The two great experts' divine might was boundless. However, Su Yan was a level higher. His divine power gathered and turned into a seed. It seemed insignificant, but it possessed the battle prowess of a heavenly deity. A dragon fought in the wilderness. The scene was terrifying. Even the sky was pierced through. Kill! Su Yen roared. He looked down with disdain. He was simply a human-shaped vicious dragon. He tore through the darkness and attacked in front of Zhu Tian. This figure was tyrannical to the extreme. Tens of thousands of layers of blood essence surged and gathered together to form an ancient dragon. It coiled above Su Yan's head, as if it was patrolling the heavens. The power of the heavens bloomed. The inception profound bloomed and descended. It pierced through the ancient dragon. This dragon was revived. It possessed the divine might of the great Tao that was incomprehensible to the people of the world. I'll blow you up with one punch. Su Yen released this punch. The ancient dragon coiled above his fist and released a power that could swallow the universe. The dragon fist was unparalleled and emitted an incomparable might. This punch blasted open the void, and the world seemed to be collapsing. Everything was blurry and couldn't be seen clearly. However, some people could vaguely see bloody light blossoming. It was very dazzling. This was black blood that sprinkled down. Under the shocked gazes of everyone present, they saw Su Xianren's tyrannical power reach the limit. He blasted out with a fist that shook heaven and earth. It struck Zhu Tian until his entire fist exploded. His entire body spurted out a bloody mist. Chapter 1069. Zhu Tian's body trembled. He couldn't hold on any longer. His body was about to be penetrated, and blood mist spurted out from his mouth. Pfft! A large mouthful of blood rolled out from his throat as he was sent flying. Blood splattered in the void and dyed the shattered void red. The Zhu Tian of the Zhu Palace, who had astonishing battle prowess, was in a miserable state at this moment. How valiant was Su Yen! He had stepped into the heavenly god realm after bathing in the reincarnation divine punishment. Now, his battle prowess was tyrannical. He punched out with a peerless dragon fist that looked down on everything. It pierced through the void and sent Zhu Tian flying. This punch seemed to have shattered the legends of Zhu Tian's invincible past, shocking everyone present. Heavens! The deities trembled. They could only feel disbelief at the scene before them. There was no other expression on their faces. What kind of scene was this? The dark tide that filled the sky exploded. An extremely tyrannical figure had destroyed a legend with a single punch. Zhu Tian's body trembled violently as he spurted out blood. He was no match for Zhu Tian. Zhu Tian seemed to be on the verge of defeat. Su Xianren's strength had refreshed their understanding of Su Yen. Moreover, it had only been a night. What kind of opportunity did he have to cultivate such extraordinary battle prowess? Even the young overlords of the various races, who boasted of being peerless geniuses, felt like their livers were being torn apart. There was a trace of fear in their eyes. How terrifying was Su Xianren! Was he invincible? Unbelievable! Zhu Tian has brought out his ultimate trump card, but he still can't suppress his peerless edge. The experts in the outside world were dumbfounded. They were shocked from the bottom of their hearts. This punch seemed to dominate the world and directly established Su Yan's invincible status among his peers. Swish! Swish! Under the shocked gazes of everyone present, Su Yan's figure traversed the shattered space and instantly arrived in front of Zhu Tian, who had been sent flying. Su Yan's battle blood surged, revealing a ferocious might that could shake the world. He punched out again, and the shock waves of a heavenly god surged as he bombarded Zhu Tian. Every generation of ancestral sky is an undefeatable legend. I am undefeatable, invincible. Zhu Tian, who looked miserable, suddenly let out a low roar. He stabilized his flying body, and dark tides gushed out from his blood-stained body. His foundation was once again released and burned to its limit. Do your best to maintain the glory of the ancestral heaven mark. That's them, not you. You're just sitting back and enjoying the fruits of others' labor. Su Yan's eyes shone with golden divine light as he raised his fist and smashed it forward. His peerless strength caused the boundless darkness tide to collapse. All matter was swept up, and the bombardment caused Zhu Tian's body to tremble once again. It was an earth-shattering scene. Su Yan used his inner strength to create chaos and open up a world that belonged to him. This battle stunned the world. Many important figures could see that Su Yan's energy didn't originate from the universe. The heavenly god energy he released came from within. Moreover, Su Yan's body was burning like a furnace, absorbing all the energy within the universe for his own use. Then, it evolved into Su Yan's innate combat strength. It had to be said that it made them shudder. What kind of great Tao was this? Why was Su Yan's explosive form different from everyone else's? Could it be that he had embarked on a different great Tao? Boom! The boundless darkness tide collapsed once again. No matter how strong Zhu Tian's foundation was or how vast the divine energy he released was, he couldn't suppress Su Yan at all. Su Yan had a peerless sharpness that could tear apart any energy and matter. Boom! Su Yan punched out once again. A dragon in the wilderness was like an eagle soaring into the sky. The moment he punched out, the world rumbled. The world undulated, and the great Tao of the void collapsed. Was this still the conquest of a young overlord? Why did they feel that it was a fierce battle between a martial Tao grandmaster and a fledgling cultivator? They didn't expect Zhu Tian to be suppressed once again. This punch landed on his chest, and it was dripping with blood. Arg! Zhu Tian roared. His chest caved in, and his body was about to shatter and explode. I'm going to kill you! Su Yan roared. His black hair danced in the wind, and his eyes were like lightning. Su Yan's fist was instantly released. A kind of blurry light was released along with the rise and fall of Su Yan's chest. Reincarnation. Zhu Tian's expression changed drastically. In his severely injured state, Su Yan's fist released the reincarnation Great Tao. When this secret art was used, Zhu Tian felt that his life was taken away, his energy was taken away, and everything was taken away. Zhu Tian's aura declined to the extreme, and he was about to reach the end of his life. Zhu Tian's scalp went numb. This was definitely the reincarnation secret art. It instantly enveloped him, and he was about to die and decline. Even Su Yan's aura was changing. His flesh shell seemed to have turned into a halberd, and he was about to slash down and kill the declining Zhu Tian, not giving him any chance to deal with the reincarnation secret art. This was the terror of the reincarnation secret art. It had the confidence to kill a supreme of the same generation in a single exchange. This was a peerless trump card that made all the kings tremble. Everyone knew that it was extremely difficult to kill a young overlord. One had to use extraordinary means, but Su Yan's reincarnation secret art did indeed have such a terrifying effect. Roar. He released a crazy roar. He was truly scared stiff. Su Yan had the ability to kill supreme beings of his generation. Once he was struck, he would definitely die and nurse a grievance. What happened? All the experts were silent and their breathing was heavy. They saw that Zhu Tian had aged and was about to be killed by Su Yan in an instant. Some people trembled in fear. Who knew what would happen if Zhu Tian died? If Su Yan really broke the million-year legend of the Ancestral Hall's Zhu Tian, the experts of the Ancestral Hall would probably go crazy. At the same time, in the outside world, the experts of the Ancestral Hall were about to join hands to activate the Supreme Treasure and open the reincarnation universe. No matter what happened, Zhu Tian couldn't die. Even if he suffered a crushing defeat, he couldn't die. That was because his era of legends had yet to arrive. He had to step into the Divine King's realm in order to create Zhu Tian's glory. Boom! Just as the scene was about to turn bloody, a terrifying light appeared. Zhu Tian's imprint rotated and flashed with the unrivaled aura of the past Zhu Tians. At this moment, it was as though the heavens had been overturned and a group of kings had descended to the lower realm. They emitted a thunderous energy that rushed towards Su Yan. Su Yan's body tensed up as he sensed great danger. His corporeal body that was about to slash Zhu Tian shuddered violently, and the heart of his brows cracked. Blood light flowed down, and the primordial spirit that was sitting cross-legged inside felt as if it had encountered a group of kings that wanted to destroy it. Future Buddha! Su Yan's primordial spirit erupted. His golden primordial spirit glowed with a solemn expression as he chanted the Sutra of the Future. He was like an ancient Buddha sitting in the future with boundless Dharma, blocking the killing move of Zhu Tian's imprint. However, Su Yan wasn't having a good time either. Blood sprinkled down from the space between his brows. The future Buddha's body swayed and was about to collapse in the future world. However, Su Yan still managed to block the killing move of Zhu Tian's imprint. I've heard from the clan elders that the Divine King's realm would disappear with each generation of Zhu Tian's imprint. However, each generation of Zhu Tian's imprint would accumulate the perfect foundation of the Divine King and continue to be passed down. This generation of Zhu Tian's imprint is peerless and terrifying. Luo Tian's heavy words rang out, causing Yuan and the others to shiver. Just now, Su Yan might have been crushed by the spiritual will of a group of kings. If it wasn't for the Sutra of the Future, Su Yan would have died. Was this the ultimate foundation? Tensor frowned. If Zhu Tian stepped into the Divine King's realm and merged with the invincible Zhu Tian's imprint, he would definitely become even stronger. At that time, who would be able to stop Zhu Tian? This was a monster. What an impressive Zhu Tian's imprint. Su Yan's expression turned solemn. He had almost died just now. Fortunately, the Sutra of the Future was powerful enough. Although Su Yan's imprint was special enough, the Zhu Tian's imprint was extremely powerful. It would be difficult to devour the Zhu Tian's imprint. One had to wait for the imprint to decline before there was any hope of devouring it and snatching away the invincible glory of the previous generations of Zhu Tian's imprint. You're really lucky. I don't believe I can't kill you. Zhu Tian's words were cold. He hadn't expected Su Yan to be able to withstand it. Even more so, he had grasped the secret of reincarnation and even the Buddhist heavenly art. Zhu Tian, do you think you're qualified to fight me now? Su Yan sneered. I have my own methods to kill you, Zhu Tian roared. His body suddenly split into two, and two Zhu Tians stood out. Their auras were peerlessly terrifying. These were two identical Zhu Tians. It was impossible to distinguish the real from the fake. Even their auras stood at the peak of the realm. What? The experts were shocked. What kind of divine ability was this? The two Zhu Tians appeared and roared toward the sky. They emitted furious killing intent as they charged toward Su Yan. One Qi into three pure ones. Luo Tiandu's expression changed drastically. The rumor is true. The Ancestral Hall has grasped the one Qi into three pure ones. Although it's incomplete, it's the strongest secret technique in history. I didn't expect Zhu Tian to have cultivated it. It's equivalent to two Zhu Tians joining forces to suppress Su Yan. Where is the one Qi into three pure ones? Has the treasury of the reincarnation universe been opened? The drowsy Tai Baokai suddenly quivered and got up. He was so excited that his four paws were trembling. The legendary one Qi into three pure ones. Once this secret technique was cultivated, one would be able to split into three. When three experts joined forces, they would be invincible among their peers. Now, a shocking divine ability had appeared, causing the experts present to scream. Even the almighty experts of the sealed heaven region were envious. It was indeed the one Qi into three pure ones. The Ancestral Hall actually had such a secret technique. One Qi into three pure ones, the strongest secret technique in history. Heavens, Zhu Tian has actually cultivated the strongest secret technique in history. Is he going to flip the tables? Who can stop two Zhu Tians joining forces? Countless people roared uncontrollably. All the young overlords were trembling. Who could stop Zhu Tian? Who could suppress the combined might of two Zhu Tians? Was Zhu Tian going to be invincible in the world? It's over. The two Zhu Tians roared. They joined forces and released the power of landslides and tsunamis to attack Su Yan. The spectators thought that Su Yan would retreat and avoid the suppression of the strongest divine ability in history. But who knew that Su Yan would charge forward like a heavenly king supporting the four poles of the universe? His eyes were like lightning and his roar shattered the starry sky. I don't care if you're real or fake. Do you dare to take a punch from me? Su Yan's black hair scattered behind him. His entire fist was glowing and surging with the grand primordial profundities. He wanted to return all things to their origin and shatter all illusions. He roared and streaked across the sky like a comet. His fist imprint was matchless and revealed the strongest aura in history as it blasted toward Zhu Tian. Chapter 1070. Su Xianren dares to face the I Chi into three pure ones? Does he want to die? This is the strongest secret technique in history, the I Chi into three pure ones. Although Zhu Tian has split into two, his combat strength has not declined at all. This secret technique is truly earth-shattering. It is undoubtedly one of the strongest secret techniques in history, the I Chi into three pure ones. All the cultivators present were shocked. The big shots in the outside world were envious, and the Almighties were no exception. Even the Almighties yearned for this secret technique. It was said to be one of the 9 strongest divine abilities in history. Even for the Almighty, this was the first time they had seen the appearance of the first divine ability secret technique. Although the ancestral hall only had a fragment of it, its value was immeasurable. Perhaps even the taboo would covet such a rare inheritance. The ancestral hall really has such a secret technique. I didn't expect them to really have it. I wonder if the one His Highness Daozu obtained is the same as the incomplete version in our Dao Palace's collection. A group of old antiques from the Taoist temple gathered together to discuss. Someone said coldly, "If they are not the same, then will the invincible I Chi San Qing appear in the hands of the Taoist temple one day? Who could resist this kind of temptation?" The Dao Palace did have the I Chi into three pure ones, and it was also an incomplete version. However, the ancestral hall also had an incomplete version. If the two were combined into one, it would be the complete I Chi into three pure ones. Even an incomplete version would have certain flaws. However, if it was the complete I Chi into three pure ones, it would be the most perfect. There were many cloning techniques in history, and there were even some that were created by taboo technique. However, no secret technique could surpass the status of the I Chi into three pure ones. Boom! This battle caused all the cultivators present to go crazy. The two ancestral heavens released an invincible aura. During the process, everyone stared at the ancestral heavens. The two figures were equally terrifying, bringing with them unfathomable dark tides that surged and rippled, sweeping across all directions. It was equivalent to two young supremes joining forces. Their divine might was heaven-defying. Who could resist such a supreme technique? Some of the young geniuses were truly in despair. With such a powerful secret technique in hand, who could defeat the ancestral heavens in the future? This was the strongest secret technique in history. Even if it was an incomplete version, it was enough to sweep away all his peers. Kill! The two ancestral heavens roared at the same time. Their movements were synchronized, and they charged over like two black demonic stars. The surging waves of light penetrated the vast land. No one expected Su Xianren to be like a sharp blade cutting through the battlefield amidst this destruction. His body streaked across the horizon like an imperial star, emitting a divine might that could dominate his generation. "Take this!" Su Yan roared. He was using violence to curb violence and using brute force to break through. Su Yan did not care about the one Qi into three pure ones or the two ancestral heavens. Once the initial fist was unleashed, who could compete with him? Zhu Tian's strongest secret art was incomplete, but Su Yan's was the most complete one. As his cultivation of the initial sutra deepened, the power of his initial fist would become stronger. Boom! A dazzling fist, like a blurry universe, released light that swept across the mountains and rivers. Vaguely, the world seemed to be moving in reverse, returning to the source, returning to the primal chaos. All Tao and laws were buried in the primal chaos. Before this punch could even reach them, the two Zhu heavens shuddered violently. However, they still existed, emitting powerful undulations. Without a doubt, this was the strongest secret technique in history. It would not be affected by the unique profundity of the initial fist and destroy one of their clones. This also showed how terrifying the one Qi into three pure ones was. After all, once the initial fist was unleashed, the great Tao would no longer exist. However, the Tao and laws of the one Qi into three pure ones would still exist, and it could still persist. However, under the influence of the initial fist, the two clones were somewhat blurry and unreal. They were full of flaws. Without a doubt, these were the flaws of the one Qi into three pure ones. They were directly reflected by the initial fist. It had to be said that the initial fist was too powerful. Before it was unleashed, the flaws had already been resolved in the initial fist's domain. If it was complete and not incomplete, there would definitely be no flaws. Initial fist. The two ancestral heavens' expressions changed drastically. This was definitely the legendary initial fist. It was so powerful that their two clones were unsteady. What's going on? Many people felt that this was Zhu Tian's moment of glory. He might even be able to kill Su Xianren. However, the outcome made them pale. The two clones suddenly merged into one, turning into one Zhu Tian. This scene stunned them. Could the one Qi into three pure ones be an incomplete technique? The flaw was so great that it was almost impossible to operate. Zhu Tian has become stronger. Someone was horrified. The one Qi into three pure ones had turned into clones and merged together, causing Zhu Tian's aura to soar. He had no choice but to do this. He had no choice but to use the forbidden secret technique to obtain greater strength. This was because he was facing the bloody suppression of the initial fist. Su Yan pounced over, his fist smashing forward. He wanted to break through everything and kill Zhu Tian. Ah! Zhu Tian also waved his palm and smashed down. The two experts collided, causing the world to explode. Countless cracks appeared in the universe, and this corner of the world collapsed. Only the two figures remained. Kill! Su Yan's explosive roar reverberated between heaven and earth, rippling with the conviction to kill Zhu Tian. Everyone felt like their livers were being torn apart. At this moment, Su Yan was like a supreme god in their hearts. He had shattered the heavens with a single fist and shattered Zhu Tian's palm. Moreover, his entire body had exploded into a ball of bloody light under his peerless strength. No! Zhu Tian. Impossible! In the outside world, all the experts in the ancestral hall let out a roar of grief. How could this be? How could this happen? How could Zhu Tian be destroyed by Su Yan's fist? The one Qi into three pure ones had been used, and even the forbidden secret technique had been awakened. However, why couldn't he block Su Yan's fist? Why did his body collapse and explode into bloody light? Everyone was terrified, not daring to look directly at this blood-soaked figure. He was Su Xianren. Today, in the reincarnation universe, he had destroyed Zhu Tian with a single fist. The entire reincarnation universe seemed to be trembling. Everyone exclaimed in disbelief. It was unknown how many people's souls were trembling. That fist just now seemed to have smashed into their primordial spirits, making them want to kneel down and worship it. The eyes of the spectators were filled with shock. Zhu Tian really died? You won't be able to escape. Suddenly, a cold voice rang out. Zhu Tian wasn't dead? Everyone could see that the exploding bloody light instantly converged into a figure that was fleeing frantically through the void. Zhu Tian isn't dead? Many people were stunned. Why wasn't he dead? If we don't kill Zhu Tian, then the invincible imprint will transform him in the future. Zhu Tian at the Divine King realm is definitely heaven-defying. We have to kill him. Yuan and the others were nervous. How could Zhu Tian still be alive? Could it be that he had an immortal Dao substance to protect his life like the Master Realm? This is one spirit into three pure ones. A knowledgeable old cultivator said solemnly, "This is the secret technique of one spirit into three pure ones. Legend has it that when you split into two, you have two lives." Of course, Zhu Tian isn't dead yet, but his foundations are greatly damaged. Without divine medicine, he won't be able to recover. Everyone was speechless. Zhu Tian had two lives, but one was destroyed by Su Yan. But if it was the complete one spirit into three pure ones, wouldn't he have three lives? Zhu Tian, you won't be able to escape. Su Yan's heaven and earth eye opened wide. He saw through all illusions and locked onto Zhu Tian's fleeing figure. Su Yan leaped across the sky and caught up to Zhu Tian in less than 2 breaths. He raised his golden foot and stomped down viciously, wanting to trample Zhu Tian to death. He had to get rid of this enemy. This was a heaven-sent opportunity. Once Zhu Tian became a god king in the future, and fused with the invincible foundation of Zhu Tian's imprint, it would be difficult to get rid of Zhu Tian. He would be the next Qiu Ming, and he might be even more heaven-defying than Qiu Ming. Su Yan, stop. The elders of the ancestral hall gathered in the outside world were really crazy. They worked together to take out their great Dao Saint weapon. This was a bright sword embryo. The moment it was released, it was like the awakening of a heavenly sword that could slice apart the universe. It revealed a sword light that could tear apart a corner of the universe. Heaven-severing sword, a top-grade Dao Saint weapon. They are crazy. How dare they attack Reincarnation Universe? Even if Reincarnation Universe has declined to such a level, it isn't something they can easily split apart. Some important figures were terrified. This was their race's inheritance treasure, heaven-severing sword. It was a top-grade Dao Saint weapon of the Ancestral Hall. Rumor had it that in ancient times, the Ancestral Hall had used the heaven-refining cauldron to refine the heaven-severing sword. After the passage of time, the heaven-severing sword had evolved into a top-grade Dao Saint weapon. It was one of the Ancestral Hall's most precious treasures. They didn't expect the elders of the Ancestral Hall to bring the heaven-severing sword. Qi. The peerless sword light was terrifying. It instantly slashed toward Reincarnation Universe. This sword light pierced through time and space, slashing down to stop Su Yan's crazy actions. But no matter how fast they were, they couldn't be faster than Su Yan. The golden foot crushed the void, causing Zhu Tian to howl in grief. His body was collapsing uncontrollably. His body, which had already suffered a great loss of vitality, was now falling apart like mud. "I can't accept this." Zhu Tian howled in grief. His blood-stained hair was disheveled like a mad beast. He couldn't accept this. His path to becoming a king hadn't even begun. His legend had just begun. Was it going to end like this? Zhu Tian couldn't accept this. How could he die like this? But all his resistance was useless. Su Yan was determined to kill him. At the moment of death, Zhu Tian wanted to roar and reveal the secret of Su Yan's initial fist. But it was all in vain. Su Yan's spiritual will had already suppressed this space-time, not giving Zhu Tian any chance to struggle. He was truly in despair. Why was this happening? Why was the invincible legend of Zhu Tian ending in his hands? What made Zhu Tian despair was that the Zhu Tian mark had given up on him, not leaking any energy to save his life. He had lost the right to possess the Zhu Tian mark, mercilessly deprived. At this moment, Zhu Tian understood that the Zhu Tian mark had its own will. This was a bloody reality. Bang! In the end, Su Yan's foot stomped down and crushed Zhu Tian. 3 chapters have been updated consecutively. It's said that there will be a power outage today. The village will have a power outage for the entire day. I'm updating in advance. Hee, shamelessly begging for some monthly votes and recommendation vote. Mobile phone, M.O.M. NO ads XN 81 XN. Chapter 1071. Zhu Tian has been defeated. Zhu Tian was actually trampled to death by Su Xianren. His second life lasted for 3 breaths before dying. Zhu Tian has been defeated. The legend has been broken. Is Su Xianren invincible now? Everyone present went crazy. They lost control and screamed. Their eyes were filled with fear and reverence. Even the young overlords were no exception. Zhu Tian had been killed by Su Yan, an unparalleled legend of the Zhu Tian of all eras. This was an earth-shattering event that would shake the entire universe. The ancestral hall's Zhu Tian had been trampled to death by Su Xianren. His second life had returned to nothingness and died completely. However, what astonished Su Yan was that the ancestral heaven imprint had left his glabella and turned into a blood-colored shadow. It tore through time and space with lightning speed to escape. Not good, the ancestral heaven imprint is escaping. Luo Tiandu's expression changed slightly. He said in a low voice, once the ancestral heaven imprint escapes, the ancestral hall can still nurture a second Zhu Tian with their foundation. Their race should have a hidden seed candidate. Nurture is fine. The strongest Zhu Tian has already been killed. What's there to be afraid of? Said Tensor. Upon hearing this, Luo Tiandu shook his head and said, You don't know how terrifying Daozu's ancestral heaven imprint is. How many epochs have passed? For millions of years, the ancestral heaven has been invincible. This is a bloody fact. After millions of years, the cultivation world has produced many outstanding talent. It's possible for a second or even a third Su Yan to appear. But why is the ancestral heaven invincible? It's because he has stepped into the divine king realm. He is truly invincible. The strength of the ancestral heaven imprint is beyond your expectations. These secrets were top secrets passed down from the great Luo Empire. Luo Tiandu couldn't help but reveal them. Now that Su Yan had created a legend, one shouldn't forget that the ancestral heaven's strongest era was in the divine king realm. He was the strongest ancestral heaven who had fused the cultivation essence of various epochs. Forget it. A blurry figure was hidden deep in the darkness. It was a blood-colored lifeform. Its cold eyes stared at the ancestral heaven imprint as it muttered to itself, Even if I succeed, it won't be of any help to me. Instead, it will invite disaster. Then, its blood-colored eyes glanced at the ancestral heaven, who had exploded into a bloody light, and said disdainfully, Too pitiful, too pitiful. But you are all serving the ancestral heaven's imprint. But after so many years, you are just servants. Not worth mentioning. Then, the shadow of the blood-colored creature slowly disappeared. He knew that he could not kill Su Yan. Su Yan's condition did not allow him to use his full strength. Su Yan, just you wait. I will come and find you. The day I come out will be the day I destroy all the Yingjie realms and become the king of the universe. That day will come soon. A cold voice that contained cold ambition appeared. He had been coveting the reincarnation fruit for a long time, but Su Yan had taken the peach. Although it wasn't a complete reincarnation fruit, it was of great help to him. However, it was snatched away by Su Yan just like that. He couldn't swallow this resentment. However, he didn't care. There were other methods to make up for his shortcomings. That day would come soon. The ancestral heavens imprint ran away? While the experts were still in shock, someone discovered that the ancestral heavens imprint had turned into a blood-colored light and traversed through time and space. The ancestral heavens imprint is mine. Su Yan's eyes widened. How could he let go of this opportunity? As long as the special Great Tao imprint on his body could devour the ancestral heaven's imprint, he would be able to obtain all of the ancestral heaven's ultimate techniques and cultivation experience. To Su Yen, this was a priceless immortal treasury. Its significance was even more astonishing than killing the ancestral heaven. Buzz. Su Yan's figure covered the sky and wanted to grab the ancestral heaven's imprint. However, what horrified him was that the universe beyond the heavens had been cut open. Snow-white light surged forth, causing even his eye of heaven and earth to feel a piercing pain. The universe seemed to have ushered in doomsday. A huge crack appeared at the peak of the heavens and ran through millions of miles. Boom! A sword radiance that reached the heavens came slashing down from the outer realm. It was filled with energy fluctuations that could sever all life. As it came rolling down, it was as if it was going to cut open a great realm of life. This is a supreme Great Tao Saint weapon. Many people lost control and cried out. The crowd was trembling because this sword radiance was too sharp. It had forcefully opened the reincarnation universe. Before it could attack, the bodies of the experts were about to be cut open. Many people were no exception now that things had developed to this stage. Su Xianren's potential was too terrifying. There were experts from the Ancestral Hall and the Sealed Heaven region occupying the outside world. How could they let Su Yan escape unscathed? Many elders of the Ancestral Hall joined forces. They brought out the Sky Splitter sword and split open a corner of the reincarnation universe. With the Sky Splitter sword's supreme profundities, they slashed down at Su Yan to end this battle. However, it was already too late. Zhu Tian was already dead. He had been trampled to death by Su Yan. All the elders of the Ancestral Hall roared uncontrollably. Their hearts were filled with world-burning fury. They were so angry that their hearts and lungs were trembling. In particular, some elders were so angry that their noses and mouths were spurting out blood. They were about to emit green smoke. Kill him. I want him to die without a burial ground and be buried with Zhu Tian. The experts from the Ancestral Hall went mad. They didn't care about anything else and brought out the Sky Splitter sword. The terrifying sword radiance rushed toward Su Yan. However, the sword radiance had just arrived. The dark reincarnation universe was steaming with terrifying radiance. The entire reincarnation universe was grand and peerless. Although it was on the verge of death, the reincarnation universe still emitted nomological energy. The huge reincarnation universe was like a heavenly disk that rumbled as it rotated. Trillions of nomological energy flowed out. The sword radiance was directly blocked by the reincarnation universe's nomological energy. No matter how terrifying the sword radiance was, it still collapsed. Many people paled. The reincarnation universe was still powerful. Even a peak Great Tao sacred weapon couldn't penetrate it. It had its own nomological energy that didn't allow energy that surpassed the nomological energy to appear. Moreover, if it wasn't for the decline of the reincarnation universe, there might have been energy that could have destroyed the group of elders from the Ancestral Hall. The universe couldn't be humiliated. They had to maintain absolute reverence. Zhu Tian, how can you die? Your time of glory hasn't come yet. How can you die? The elders of the Ancestral Hall couldn't let it go. They howled in grief. They couldn't accept Zhu Tian's death. They were still waiting to see Zhu Tian's era of invincibility. How could this generation's Zhu Tian fall at the hands of Su Yan? If he had fallen at the hands of other experts, they wouldn't be so angry. But who was Su Yan? He was the rising star of the burial realm. There was no need to say much about the grudges between the two groups. Zhu Tian's death at the hands of Su Yan was equivalent to Su Yan giving the Ancestral Hall a hard slap in the face, wiping away their previous humiliation. Who would have thought that the incomplete universe would turn out like this? The heavens sealing 10 heroes had fallen. Sundome's fate was unknown. The North Demon had been killed. The Heaven Suppression Battle God had been beheaded. Now, even Zhu Tian had been killed by Su Xianren. Such a tragic event was unheard of. A plot to kill Su Yan had caused the death of so many experts. 2 heavenly supremes had fallen, and a supreme physique had been beheaded. The heavens sealing 10 heroes of the sealing heaven domain had died because of this. It was a bloody event. Many onlookers couldn't believe it. Anyone could see it. Terrifying killing intent was released. One after another, the raging flames of the Almighty swept over, about to drown the entire reincarnation universe. Kill your way in and destroy Su Yan. The old antiques overseeing the Tao Palace, Chiu Boyan of the Sealing Heaven Domain, and the group of old experts of the Ancestral Hall all released flames of shock and fury, covering the reincarnation universe. At this moment, they all understood that they were really going to attack the reincarnation universe. Honglong. Divine might that filled the sky surged over, causing the entire reincarnation universe to shake. The world inside was even more shaken. The heroes were all alarmed. The end of the universe had truly arrived. The entire reincarnation universe flickered between brightness and darkness. Countless great cracks appeared. Many people were sucked into the great cracks of the universe. A large number of them died. The bloody event caused great chaos and panic. Many people wanted to flee, but the universe was so big. Where could they flee to? Have they gone mad? A few geniuses with great backgrounds were furious. They didn't care about the consequences and wanted to collapse the reincarnation universe to kill Su Yan. But once they did so, the people here would be plunged into misery and suffering. Hundreds of thousands of creatures would be buried within. 1. The enormous reincarnation universe shone as if a giant wheel was rotating, doing its best to maintain the universe's operation. But there were many experts participating in the battle. They attacked frantically, wanting to collapse the reincarnation universe and capture Su Yan. Su Yan's expression changed. He met up with Baokai and the others. They had to leave now. The people of the Ancestral Hall had already gone mad and would open the reincarnation universe to kill him regardless of the consequences. Let me do it. All of a sudden, one black boulder after another fell from the sky in the outer world. It was as if there were 4 meteorites from outer space that weighed millions and millions of pounds. The moment they fell, the reincarnation universe trembled. The millions and millions of layers of reincarnation light became somewhat dim. It was extremely difficult to suppress the 4 black meteorites. Not good, these are heaven-suppressing stones. Luo Tiandu's expression changed greatly. Su Yan, quickly think of a way to leave. These are the 4 heaven-suppressing stones of the Han family. They came from an incomplete universe and were nurtured for countless years. It's said that the heaven-suppressing stones contain heaven-suppressing might and can temporarily suppress the laws of a universe secret realm. Heaven-suppressing stones, damn it. It would be great if we could take them away. Tai Baotsai's eyes were red. He wanted to lie down and sleep. He knew a thing or two about the heaven-suppressing stones. It was said that the heaven-suppressing stone was able to nurture the unique energy of the universe. Its value was not inferior to that of a supreme treasure material. But who would have thought that the Han family's headquarters would have 4 heaven-suppressing stones? You still want to take the heaven-suppressing stones? Luo Tiandu glared. Can you leave first? Yuan and the others were very calm. So calm? Luo Tiandu was stunned and even shuddered. Could it be that the taboo behind them had come? If that was the case, wouldn't Chiu Boyan and the others go mad? If the taboo really came out, those who attacked would be so frightened that they would piss their pants. Wouldn't I be rich if I could rob the Han family? Such a thought emerged in Su Yan's mind. A great world that had existed for millions of years would have tens of thousands of treasure vault. The wealth was immeasurable. Chapter 1072. It was said that last time, more than 100 leaders of the Sealed Heaven Domain joined forces to uncover the secrets of the Sealed Heaven Domain. Although the appearance of a taboo had alarmed all the experts, Thousands of treasure vaults were opened and countless treasures were dug out, blinding the eyes of the experts of various races. However, some people speculated that those were just ordinary treasure vaults. If the treasure vaults were dug out, it would be the celestial treasures that would be revealed to the public. Although the Han family was not as powerful as the sealed heaven domain, it was the ancestor of the strange doors. It had explored many treasure vaults of the universe's secret realms. The family's foundation could not be underestimated. Although it was declining now, it still had the foundation to rise again in the future. Boom! Now, the 4 heaven-suppressing stones were in the sky. One after another, the black stones poured down vast heaven-suppressing energy, causing the great Tao of the reincarnation universe to become unstable. The entire reincarnation universe began to flicker. Everyone could see that the 4 heaven-suppressing stones were suppressing the reincarnation universe, causing the law energy of the reincarnation universe to lose its effect. From this moment on, the entire world seemed to have gone crazy. The big shots in the outside world were envious. The reincarnation universe had been destroyed. The old grandmaster of the Han family had arrived. He looked like a ferocious ghost as he stood on the heaven-suppressing stone and roared, "Su Yen, I will let you die without a burial ground. Today, this reincarnation universe will be your burial ground." Su Yen was not surprised that the Han family came. The 4 black heaven-suppressing stones had shocked the world. They did not expect the Han family to take out such a foundation and even used it at the critical moment to suppress the reincarnation universe. This made Chiu Boyan let out a sinister laugh. A big hand tore the reincarnation universe apart and covered Su Yen with an incomparably ferocious and resentful aura. Su Xianren is finished. The whole scene was in an uproar. The Almighty of the sealed heaven domain had attacked instantly. Everyone knew what had happened in the sealed heaven domain a few days ago. Chiu Boyan was still seriously injured. If he did not kill Su Yen, he would not be able to rest in peace. Bastard! Chiu Boyan's big hand swept across the sky and rushed toward Su Yen. His voice was ferocious. "Su Yen, you killed one of the top 10 Ninja of the sealed heaven domain and killed my clan's almighty. Sealed heaven domain Xingjia. Old thing. You can really endure it. I almost hammered you to death back then." Su. Now that they recalled the scene of a godly king beating up a mighty figure, they couldn't bear to look at it. "I'll slap you to death," Chiu Boyan roared. He was completely out of control. His aura was released uncontrollably. His roar killed countless innocents. A large number of living beings died. The entire reincarnation universe was shaking. Save me. The world was in chaos. The Almighty attacked regardless of the consequences. Who could withstand the flames of anger? The experts in the outside world used their abilities to bring the young seeds of their clans over. Now that the Almighty was so angry that smoke was coming out of his mouth, it was difficult for them to persuade him to calm down. When the slap was infinitely close to Su Yen, a terrifying sword light shot out. A group of old antiques worked together to revive the heaven-cleaving sword. They slashed at Su Xianren. "Su Yen has a great enmity with our clan. We must avenge Zhu Tian's death. We hope the Almighty of the sealed heaven domain will forgive us." The elders of the ancestral hall were determined. They wanted to take away Su Yan's corpse. Zhu Tian was dead. But Su Yan's corpse must be in their hands. Scram! Chiu Boyan was in a fit of anger and didn't give anyone face. He wouldn't be satisfied until he killed Su Yen with his own hands. The large hand that was rapidly covering Su Yen turned back and rushed towards the sword light of the sky-chopping sword. However, what made Chiu Boyan furious was that in an instant of light, there were actually more than 10 large hands that reached in. Their divine might penetrated the heavens and the earth, as if a sea of stars had descended. Many people turned pale. This wasn't just to kill Su Yen. Most importantly, it was to seize the reincarnation fruits. Some people had already seen an old monster enter the area where the reincarnation fruits grew and ferociously dig up the soil. He was very self-aware and knew that he couldn't compete with the experts of the great sections. But taking away some of the reincarnation fruit soil shouldn't be a big deal, right? But this old antique probably didn't know that the area where the reincarnation fruits grew had been dug up by Su Yen and stored in his void pouch. There wasn't a trace of value left. They've really gone mad. The reincarnation universe was in complete chaos. The number of people who died was incalculable. Those with backgrounds were all led away. The remaining people were all uneasy. Dozens of giant hands passed through and crushed all life forms in the sky. It was as if the world was bleeding and crying. A large number of experts died. Sinister cries reverberated through the blood-soaked mountains and rivers. Su Yen, you're so ruthless. My clan's Sun Dome's fate is unknown. Go back to your clan and ask for forgiveness, said an expert from the Nine Yang sect. You evil creature, you relied on the banners of demons to kill the king of myriad demons and the supreme expert of the demon domain. Hand over your life. A large number of northern demons rushed out in anger and targeted Tai Baokai. Even the Ancestral Hall and Underworld race experts erupted and attacked Yuan's group. Damn it, the world is really changing. They want to kill these young overlords. They're worried that they'll settle things with them after they mature. The experts from the various great sects were alarmed. What was this? They broke the rules and interfered with the younger generation's fight. They eliminated Yuan's group in advance and killed them. This was a group of 5 peerless experts. Some people felt that if the taboo behind Su Yen stepped out at this juncture, they would be so scared that they would piss their pants. This old man is incomparably heartbroken about the death of the heaven-suppressing battle god. Another cold voice exploded. The Dao Palace's old man finally couldn't sit still and attacked forcefully. His aura filled the entire reincarnation universe and suppressed the entire starry sky until it was dark. Even Xiao Boyan was suppressed. After all, his injuries were quite serious. The old man from the Dao Hall possessed remarkable abilities. Although he had lost an arm and his vitality was greatly damaged, his swift attacks were enough to reverse the situation and unleash a powerful attack. He wanted to suppress Su Yen and obtain the reincarnation fruit. As long as he had the reincarnation fruit, he believed he could stand at the peak and look down on the world. 2 powerful experts and dozens of old antiques attacked. It was a crazy scene. Everyone knew that although they were carrying banners on the surface, most of them actually wanted the reincarnation fruit. You shameless old bastards! Su Yen let out a roar. If my big brother comes, let's see how you'll deal with him. As soon as he said this, the entire universe fell into silence. Everyone who attacked felt a chill from head to toe. Who dared to disrespect the taboo when he shouted out the word taboo? The atmosphere between heaven and earth was suffocating. It was a scene that left the great sects dumbfounded. Those who attacked all stopped. For a moment, no one dared to act rashly. The whole place was in an uproar. This was the power of the taboo. A single word could shake the world and suppress all sections. It was revered and unrivaled in the world. In front of the taboo, any glorious great sect was reduced to a foil. Haha, Su Yen, you're at the end of the road. At this moment, the Han family's old grandmaster, who was maintaining the operation of the 4 heaven-suppressing stones, said eerily, My clan's powerful expert has calculated that the taboo of this clan has no life. It's either dead or sealed. This sentence was like a clap of thunder that shocked everyone. In a short period of time, the reincarnation universe really went berserk. Everyone who attacked quickly erupted. It was like a sea of stars that filled the sky were descending, rushing towards Su Yen and the others. *T. From the energy source of the exploding universe, a terrifying roar suddenly appeared. The roar caused the 4 heaven-suppressing stones to tremble. The Han family's old grandmaster's body trembled. Blood flowed from his mouth and nose, and even his eardrums were shattered. Great fear rose in his heart. He looked up at the top of the sky and saw a terrifying figure with the head of the sky and the body piercing through the sea of stars. It was extremely ferocious. He directly raised his foot and stomped on the sky, crushing it as he stepped towards the Han family's old grandmaster. No! The Han family's old grandmaster trembled in fear. He turned around and fled, unwilling to stay for a moment longer. However, no matter how fast he was, he couldn't escape the foot that stepped on him. It was as if a million mountains were pressing down, crushing space and time as it stepped on the Han family's old grandmaster's body. Ancestor, save me! The Han family's old grandmaster was trembling in fear as he screamed hysterically. However, no matter how loud he screamed, it couldn't change anything. The Han family's powerhouses didn't appear to block the disaster for him. Boom! The foot ruthlessly stomped down, causing the Han family's old grandmaster to despair. This was because his body directly exploded. It was a bloody scene. The body of a Han family's old grandmaster exploded, and blood splattered across the sky. Everyone was stunned. What was going on? Could it be that the taboo was really here? Su Yen couldn't calm down. This old thing had bullied him for too long. Now that he was stomped to death by Yi Lingtian, it was really satisfying. You bunch of rats, do you think there's no one left in my family? Did you forget what I said before? Do you still want the lives of powerhouses to be sacrificed? A cold voice sounded, containing a cold, killing intent. Someone saw a terrifying figure in a distant world. He crossed the chaotic land, and the aura he emitted squeezed out terrifying space-time cracks. A terrifying powerhouse had descended, overlooking the entire world. His pores seeped out billions of layers of blood essence, and his divine power was unparalleled. Grandpa Xiahou! Ha ha! Another powerhouse has been born in my family. Yuan and the others were ecstatic. Xiahou had come, and Xiahou had even stepped into the realm of powerhouses. You killed one of my family and crippled one of your family's powerhouses. The giant standing in the starry sky spoke with a domineering and ruthless tone. With just the two of you, a powerhouse and a half-step powerhouse, do you have the guts of an immortal? Your family has already declined. What right do you have to challenge us? Qiu Boyan exploded in anger. He couldn't bear to hear such domineering words from Tuesday, since it's not enough. Let Grandpa undergo a tribulation and then send you down to reunite with them. This giant with an astonishing aura erupted in an instant. His aura filled the great universe and radiated into the starry sky one after another. He did his best to recover to the extreme. The universe changed because this was a heaven-defying aura that rose from the ground and shook the great Tao of the universe. The blood essence in Yi Lingtian's body was so terrifying that it filled the great domain. This was the resurrection of a peerless powerhouse. Today, he was going to go against the heavens and trigger the heavenly punishment of a powerhouse to seal the sky and the earth. Chapter 1073. A dazzling divine light rose from the vast land of chaos. It was like a giant star that suppressed all life in the universe. It rushed to the top of the starry sky and shook the universe's great Tao. From this moment on, the rulers of the countless clans and forces in the surrounding hundreds of large regions, hundreds of millions of miles away, were all terrified. After opening their heavenly eyes and looking into the distance, they were all speechless and filled with reverence. Who is it that attracted the heavenly punishment? Some people sighed, especially the half-step powerhouses. They had been chasing this goal for half their lives and still couldn't see through this secret realm. It seems to be in the direction of the reincarnation universe. Has the fight for the reincarnation fruit started? Could it be that the reincarnation universe was destroyed and caused all the powerhouses to fight for supremacy? At the critical moment, a half-step powerhouse broke through and wanted to attract the heavenly punishment to force back all the powerhouses and take the reincarnation fruit? Such a shocking change. The path to becoming a powerhouse is extremely difficult. But now, someone is trying to become a powerhouse. Isn't he afraid of the calamity? Undergoing the tribulation in a place where so many powerhouses gather is an extremely dangerous move. The birth of the heavenly punishment caused an uproar among the thousands of races in the land of chaos. Anyone could see that a heaven-defying fluctuation had awakened in the reincarnation universe. It attracted the killing intent of the universe's origin, and it spread out for hundreds of millions of miles. In the direction of the origin, a majestic figure had awakened. His aura swallowed a large region, and his blood essence surged like an ocean. The gathered powerhouses were scared silly. They trembled from the fear that came from their souls. They really felt that the universe was pressing down on them, suppressing the entire region and killing all life. Heavenly punishment. Everyone present felt their scalps go numb. The faces of the ancestral palace and the other races were extremely gloomy. Xiao's domineering appearance as a powerhouse had already shocked them. Now, another powerhouse had appeared in the burial region. The old leader of their race was an extreme powerhouse, and now another powerhouse had appeared. It was even the old powerhouse of the burial region, Xiao. How many years had it been? He had actually entered the realm of the Almighty, which shocked the races in the ancestral hall. Now, the buried region race had two Almighties and even a taboo. This race had been declining for a long time. Was it going to awaken in this era of the universe? However, while they were still in shock, they saw Yi Lingtian release his aura and break through in a heaven-defying manner. It made the experts of the ancestral hall feel as if they had eaten sh*t. F*ck, another Almighty was born. How could such a ridiculous thing happen to the three Almighties? Did Big Brother Taboo come to your tribe to pave the way for the Divine King? There should be no more than 3 or 4 Almighties in the entire Daluo dynasty. But now, the declining clan of the burial region had completely ascended to the ranks of the Overlords. The clan already had 3 Almighties. But how could they explain the 2 almighty beings that had just been born in their clan in the past few years? It had only been 10 years. How did they do it? Even in the life-forbidden zone, it was difficult for 2 supreme elders to be born in 10,000 years. But the buried region clan had accomplished this unimaginable feat. Could this be related to their taboo background? Ha 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 ha! Su Yen and the others laughed. Excitement spread through their hearts. It was hard to understand this emotion. After being suppressed for countless years, their clan had now released a terrifying glory in the universe. My clan has risen. Yuan roared. Recalling the tragic scene of powerhouses attacking the Milky Way galaxy in the past, Yuan cried out in excitement. After suffering, there was sweetness. Once Yi Lingtian completed his tribulation, there would be 3 supreme elders presiding over the buried region clan. They would be 3 peak supreme elders. The significance of this was completely different. Universe Source Liquid. Su Yen guessed that it was related to the Universe Source Liquid. After Tai Baokai returned in the past, the progenitor must have opened the Death Universe and taken away a great deal of the Universe Source Liquid. The rise of the buried region clan was indeed greatly related to the Universe Source Liquid. Moreover, it caused the combat strength of the buried region clan to soar by a large margin. Moreover, many of the old veterans had healed their accumulated injuries over the years. Their combat strength had skyrocketed, and there were several who had broken through to the Divine King realm. Of course, the most important thing wasn't the Universe Source Liquid, but the strongest trial ground in history. This was the most important thing. The strongest trial ground in history had nurtured them. The buried region clan had once collapsed and lost their foundation, but the strongest trial ground in history had given them a new foundation. In fact, Yi Lingtian and the others were extremely talented. They had fought for hegemony their entire lives and had fought for thousands of years. They had completely emerged from the Earth domain, and their battle achievements were monstrous. They were also well prepared and grew in adversity. In the end, they obtained opportunities and stepped into the realm of Supreme Elders. This bunch of lunatics run. Too many people trembled in fear, and a large number of them began to flee. This was because a large region had been covered by heavenly punishment. The tribulation of a Supreme Elder affected a distance of hundreds of millions of miles. In the direction of the source of the tribulation, a vast sea of thunder and lightning formed. Dazzling lightning struck down one after another, thicker than a mountain. The lightning tribulation of a Supreme Elder was accompanied by the pressure of the universe's origin. All living beings in the universe had to bow down in worship. This was heavenly punishment, and it was difficult to resist. One had to respect it, or the universe's heavenly punishment would descend and kill them. A group of shameless powerhouses, targeting the juniors of my clan. Today I will destroy your body and soul. Xiahou stepped forward and released his aura. His pores spewed out the light of hundreds of millions of blood essence. His aura was too frightening. When he awakened, it shook the heavens and the earth. One after another, powerhouses began to shatter in the process of fleeing. Among the dozens of terrifying leaders who had attacked the incomplete universe, 9 of them had fallen in an instant. They were directly obliterated by the Supreme Elder's law. The 9 old antiques died tragically on the spot. As for the dozen or so powerhouses who fled in fear, they were extremely weak under Xiahou's giant palm. It was as if the bloody giant palm was pressing down from the heavens, covering the sky and the sun. It was boundlessly terrifying. You will suffer retribution. The Supreme Elder ignored the rules and attacked. My clan's Supreme Elder won't let you off. The powerhouses of the 9 Yang sect cried out miserably. They were like ants in front of the Supreme Elder. They couldn't resist and could only cry in despair. This was the killing of the Supreme Elder. It filled the spacetime. Who could escape? The half-step Supreme Elder also began to tremble. His body was torn apart. Under this slap, a large number of powerhouses exploded, and blood stained the sky. Ha 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 ha! Xiahou laughed angrily, shattering the bodies of his enemies. He looked cold and ruthless as he said in a domineering tone, "You scoundrels, targeting the younger generation of my clan. You should die. Leave no one alive. I will kill all of you." Well said. Kill. Yi Lingtian rushed down. This scene was really frightening. The moment he rushed over, the trillions of tribulations moved with him. The universe source that could slaughter all life manifested itself as heavenly punishment. He pulled trillions of bolts of lightning as he rushed towards Qiu Boyan. Facing this vast tribulation of thunder, even Qiu Boyan panicked. "Inform my clan's Supreme Elder." Qiu Boyan lost control and shouted. He was already severely injured and couldn't resist this scene. Yi Lingtian didn't even need to do anything. Just the Supreme Elder's thunder calamity was enough to eliminate him. This was a severely injured Supreme Elder. "Old thing, you're a Supreme Elder. How dare you target my clan's immortal state powerhouse? If you don't die, the heavens won't forgive you." Yi Lingtian roared. He was surrounded by billions of heavenly punishments as he attacked Qiu Boyan. He wanted to kill this severely injured Supreme Elder. Boom! The world went completely berserk. Billions of heavenly punishments fell and drowned Qiu Boyan. A bloody light bloomed between heaven and earth. The Supreme Elder's natural source was reviving. Everyone saw that Qiu Boyan was in a miserable state. His flesh was split open, and there was a bowl-sized bloody hole in his chest. Blood kept spurting out. He had to use his natural source energy to resist the power of heavenly punishment. "Old thing, let's see how many times you can resist. I'll send you to hell." Yi Lingtian's words were cold. His body was like the furnace of the universe burning. He raised his fist and smashed forward, triggering the universe's heavenly punishments to descend. As for Xiahou, he had already begun to sweep through the entire battlefield. He killed until rivers of blood flowed. Various areas were steaming with the blood of fallen experts. The entire great realm of life was wailing and trembling because of his attacks. Kill! Xiaoho's eyes were completely red. Now Yi Lingtian's thunder calamity sealed off the entire area. Who would dare to attack? How could a Supreme Elder's tribulation be child's play? Even a Supreme Elder would have to consider the consequences of angering the universe's heavenly punishments. In short, this place was sealed off. Xiaoho's eyes were filled with killing intent. He was the terrifying leader of a generation who ran amok without any fear. He slaughtered the experts of the various races until they were all routed. Countless experts were killed. Are they crazy? Some young overlords were frightened, their legs trembling. Attacking without regard for the consequences and slaughtering everyone with the power of a Supreme Elder. Once such a tragedy happened, the Zhangyu clan would not be afraid of the world joining forces to kill them? Someone sneered. Can it compare to the crazy actions of 2 Supreme Elders and dozens of experts joining forces to kill Su Yan and the others? When this sentence was said, the battlefield fell silent. Some unrelated people gathered in the distance. Many people were sighing. The Zhangyu clan had really risen. The younger generation had Su Xianren overseeing it. The older generation had a Supreme Elder holding the fort. Su Xianren had even invited a taboo, causing the sealed heaven region to almost be wiped out. Now Yi Lingtian's combat strength was tyrannical. Once he stepped into the realm of Supreme Elders, he would definitely be one of the best. However, from the way he was breaking through to the next realm, it could be seen that this person had accumulated an immeasurable foundation. The universe's mother liquid had given the Zhangyu clan an opportunity. The strongest trial ground had given them the foundation that they had once lost. Now they had it. Breaking through in adversity, their clan's fate erupted, reversing the decline of their clans. What did you say? The ancestral hall's Zhu Tian is dead? I say, Dao brothers, you can't speak carelessly. If the ancestral hall's experts hear it, they might cause trouble for you. At this time, a group of experts from distant regions came to watch the ceremony. It would be beneficial for them to break through to the next realm. However, as soon as they arrived, they heard a single sentence and were all stunned. They might not know the background of Ma Ilyang and the other young overlords, but they knew who the invincible Zhu Tian of the Ancestral Hall was in every era of the universe. He was a true genius, an undefeated legend, a legend of his generation. He belonged to the Ancestral Hall's pride and glory. However, they had just received news that Zhu Tian seemed to be dead. Chapter 1074. These people did not know how to answer him. It was not just Zhu Tian. The fate of the Dao Temple's heaven-suppressing battle god and sun dome of the Nine Yang sect was unknown. The North Demon of the Demon Territory was also killed. Which one of them wasn't a true god's favored one? Which one of them wasn't a peerless genius? Which one of them wasn't a potential almighty? However, one after another, they were all buried in the samsara universe. You're not joking, right? Those who came to watch the ceremony were scared. They stammered, "These people are dead? The heaven-sealing 10 heroes are also dead." The reincarnation universe's attack on Su Xianren resulted in a near-total annihilation. Are they all dead? Someone sighed. If not for the imminent collapse of the reincarnation universe and the Han family's heaven-suppressing stone, perhaps none of the others would have survived. These older generation experts could not forget Su Xianren's madness and his overbearing battle strength. He even used one qi into 3 pure ones. 2 Zhu Tians joined forces to attack Su Yan. In the end, Su Yan killed 2 Zhu Tians in a row. How is this possible? Those who came trembled in disbelief. This was a bloody incident that shocked the entire universe. A universe secret realm that was about to disappear had lost so many young paragons. Legends and demonic paragons were buried. They had goosebumps all over their bodies. They came to watch the ceremony but ended up hearing about such a bloody incident. Even now, Yi Lingtian had thrown Qiu Boyan into the universe's divine punishment, igniting a frenzy. This was to kill a mighty being. Moreover, their battle was deep into the universe's divine punishment. Who would dare to interfere in this battle? If not for the Dao Temple's old antique in Dao City, who left after seeing the situation was not right, this mighty being would have been swept into the universe's divine punishment. Some people's gazes landed on Dao City. After all, Dao City was the #1 city in the universe, and there were businesses belonging to various powerful races. No matter how crazy Xiahou and the others were, they couldn't possibly kill their way into the city. Once they did, the buried region race would become the public enemy of the entire universe. The people who came sucked in a cold breath of air, their eyes filled with shock. Someone said with amazement, "It really is crazy. Too many people have died. Blood has dyed the great region red. The burial region's clan is too crazy, slaughtering who knows how many experts." Since ancient times, the mighty figures did not appear and did not participate in the struggle of the younger generation. After all, in the eyes of a mighty figure, as long as one wasn't a mighty figure, they were all ants. It was extremely rare for a mighty figure to massacre all living beings. But now, Xiahou had completely gone mad from killing. His hands were stained with the blood of his enemies. "You will suffer retribution." Too many experts screamed miserably as they fled, nursing a grievance in the face of Xiahou's furious killing intent. The vast space-time was turbulent, and one after another, great cosmic cracks appeared. Xiahou, this seemingly supreme figure, stood atop a mountain of corpses and a sea of blood. His cold eyes had already locked onto the dozen or so elders of the ancestral hall who were wielding the sky splitter sword and were trying to flee. "Do you think you can escape?" Xiahou's entire body emitted a terrifying stench of blood. From far away, he let out a loud roar, and a mountain range in the distance collapsed. The dozen or so elders of the ancestral hall trembled, and several of them died on the spot, their bodies exploding. The strength of a mighty being was unimaginable. Before he even arrived, a supreme pressure swept over, causing these elders of the ancestral hall to tremble in fear. They immediately joined forces to revive the Sky Splitter Sword in order to block Xiahou's attack. "In the past, you bullied the juniors of my clan. Now I'll let you have a taste of this despair, this pain, and this unease." Xiahou's grayish-white hair danced in the wind. His figure was tall, and his aura swallowed the starry sky. His words were like law, and the light of order that filled the sky suddenly pressed down. It was as if the sky was collapsing, and it shattered the sword light that flew out from the Sky Splitter Sword. The mighty being's aura was as deep as the sea, and when it pressed down, it suppressed the elders of the ancestral hall. Their hair stood on end, and their hearts were filled with fear. They knew very well that they could not escape now, because this vast space-time had been covered by the mighty being's heavenly punishment. Yi Lingtian's method of sealing heaven and earth was enough to deter the mighty beings of the various clans who had participated in this. "No!" The half-step mighty beings screamed because Xiahou had already rushed over. The supreme pressure caused them to tremble, and they could not help but kneel on the ground. Their knees even cracked. The Sky Splitter Sword dimmed. So what if it was a supreme great Dao sacred weapon? Facing a mighty being like Xiahou, as long as no one from the ancestral hall activated the Sky Splitter Sword, they could not block Xiahou's shocking combat strength. "In the past, you regarded my clan as prey, and you killed without restraint. Today, I'll let you have a taste of this bitter fruit." How could Xiahou's body not be surging with anger and killing intent? He had participated in countless bloody battles, and he had seen countless men die in front of him in pools of blood, but he was powerless to do anything. Now, Xiahou had returned like a king, and his roar shook the entire world. He killed one ancestral hall expert after another with his roar. This was a terrifying aura that swept through the entire area. The rage of a mighty being caused millions of corpses to fall. People saw a mighty being go crazy, slaughtering the entire area until the heavens collapsed and gods cried. The world was plunged into the color of blood, and the gods trembled in fear. It was the end of the world, and Xiaoho's might intimidated the world. This was an unparalleled majesty, an unparalleled divine might that could not be blasphemed. It was like a vast and mighty river of stars, and it made all the races in the universe silent. It was equivalent to tacit agreement. A peak race that had once declined was slowly rising. Roar! On the other side, a great battle was raging. Yi Lingtian was fighting Qiu Boyan. Qiu Boyan was also completely crazy, and he was risking his life. He burned the vast life source in his body and fought Yi Lingtian. I'm going to kill a mighty being to prove my Tao. This was Yi Lingtian's spiritual will. Blood essence surged, and he became braver and crazier as he fought. After all, he was facing a former mighty being, and the two fought to the death. The world was stained with blood, and it was suppressed by the universe's heavenly punishment. Both were coughing up blood. This was a close combat, and there were no fancy moves. It was completely a head-on clash. They fought from the top of the sky to the blood-stained earth. From a distant world, they fought their way into the reincarnation universe. Each bloody battle left behind a world riddled with holes. In the end, the giant Yi Lingtian was covered in blood. There were more than a dozen wounds on his body, and his bones could be seen. However, Qiu Boyan's face was as white as a sheet. His foundation was getting weaker and weaker, and he could not hold on any longer. He could not fight Yi Lingtian at all. He's really going to kill a mighty being. As far as I know, this divine king Yi Lingtian used to be called Yi Lingtian. He was the strongest of his generation in the burial realm. His divine power was vast, and the divine king could be considered a peak existence in his domain. He was once a peerless genius, and now he's going against the natural order to attack the mighty being's path. It's clear how heaven-defying he is. Someone made an evaluation of him. One could see that a corner of the universe was wailing, drowned by the terrifying blood essence in his body. The entire body was steaming with the blurry light of order, and it was almost evolving into the real order of the universe. At this moment, Yi Lingtian was like a dragon that controlled billions of blood essence. He descended from the sky and unleashed a devastating attack on Qiu Boyan. Boom! Time and space exploded, and the huge black crack was endless. The sky was filled with divine energy, and it was like a cosmic tsunami had sunk the world. The vast domain was trembling, and it affected dozens of large domains. Everyone could see Yi Lingtian's glory and prosperity at this moment. No! Qiu Boyan was screaming and trembling. He really felt that he was going to die. Suddenly, just when everyone thought that Qiu Boyan was dead, 4 black heaven-suppressing stones descended from the sky, releasing a magnificent domain. It was as if 4 black dragons had come to life, and they had evolved a heaven-suppressing domain, forcibly stopping the cosmic heavenly punishment. Han family! Su Yan's eyes were filled with killing intent. The mighty being of the Han family was definitely hiding in the dark, and he had to protect Qiu Boyan at this critical moment. The Han family's mighty being was very clear that once Qiu Boyan died, the sealing heaven domain's foundation would be greatly damaged. They would have to be more cautious in the future, and perhaps the burial realm would make a move against the Han family. Therefore, he had to protect Qiu Boyan. The 4 heaven-suppressing stones were truly terrifying. They suppressed the cosmic heavenly punishment's energy, reducing the pressure on Qiu Boyan. His whole body broke free. After all, he was still a mighty being. Without the suppression of the cosmic heavenly punishment, his figure became blurry as he crossed through time and space to escape the battlefield. Slash! A loud roar filled the entire place, shaking the primordial spirits of all spirits. In the distant world, a brilliant sword radiance gushed out. Xiaoho was like a great god who had slashed the heavens. He brandished the heaven-cleaving sword, and this peerless mighty being's holy weapon had been revived. It gushed out a heaven-cleaving power that could slaughter billions of creatures. This was a peerless holy weapon of the great Tao. It was powerful beyond compare, and its killing intent was boundless. This sword radiance was terrifying. It rushed over and tore a huge crack 1,000,000 miles long. This sword reached the heavens, capable of cleaving all things. The moment the sword radiance attacked, the 4 heaven-suppressing stones that suppressed the cosmic heavenly punishment began to tremble, as if they were about to explode. The whole place was in an uproar. Would the heaven-suppressing stones really be destroyed? At the critical moment, people saw a shadow sweep out from the dark. With a sleeve, he swept away the heaven-suppressing stones and disappeared without a trace. Of course, this sword strike missed. However, Yi Lingtian descended from the sky. Billions of qi and blood dragons filled the entire region, penetrating all space and time. No! Qiu Boyan screamed. Faced with the suppression of billions of qi and blood dragons, the mighty being's body was torn apart. In the end, it could not bear it and began to explode. Roar! Yi Lingtian let out a loud roar. After slaughtering a mighty being, his essence, qi, and spirit soared. He was like a terrifying demon lord, his roar shaking the heavens. Yi Lingtian's chest rose and fell violently. In an instant, he swallowed all the divine essence that leaked out of Qiu Boyan's body and turned it into his own body. Roar! Yi Lingtian let out a second roar, his aura terrifying. His roar shook the entire cosmic heavenly punishment, causing a corner of the universe to collapse. He was truly like a mighty being, reversing his combat power and killing his way to the top. He was a mighty being who had proven his Tao. Is he going to succeed? The spectators did not care about anything else. They stared at Yi Lingtian, wanting to see how powerful he was. They wanted to see the grand feat of a half-step mighty being breaking through to become a mighty being. Strike while the iron is hot. Visit the Han family as guests. I've prepared a big gift for them. Yi Lingtian calmed down in an instant. The qi and blood in his body surged, and he did something that shocked the world. He rode the cosmic heavenly punishment. It was as if he was carrying the cosmic heavenly punishment. His figure traversed the universe. His figure was magnificent and he cut through the sky. Everyone was dumbfounded. Did they hear wrongly? What was he doing? He was going to bring the cosmic heavenly punishment to the Han family as guests. As for the gift, was it the terrifying cosmic heavenly punishment?